us at the Durward Knowles National Junior Sailing Championship. I'll be your host today. My name is Rodari Turnquest, and I'm joined by two sailing legends, Mr. Durward Knowles and Mr. Dwayne Higgins. So the first race has already started, but before we get into the first race, we're going to get a basic recap from the first 2 days from Mr. Higgins.
Good morning, all who are watching, or if you're at the Montague foreshores. We've had two really great days of sailing. We've had excellent weather. We've had sailing in the Optimus classes, championship fleet, as well as the Green Fleet. We've had competition at the Sunfish and Laser classes, and also with the E-class. So we have already covered 4 races in each of the classes, and we've had really good competition. In all the classes. This is the best of sailing within our junior ranks in the Bahamas. So we've had sailors who have come from Grand Bahama, those who have come from Eleuthera, whether it's Harbor Island or Central Eleuthera. We've had sailors from Exuma, as well as sailors from Long Island and New Providence clubs. So if you're not doing anything, or if you want to see what's happening with our youth, please come to Montague and watch our sailors. We have the championship fleet in the Opties going on now, but it's a really, really stiff competition, really good performances so far this series.
Awesome. So I'm here with Dallas, and he is the coach of the Exuma Sailing Club, and he's going to be helping us with the play-by-play for the race that has already started. And Dallas, can you tell us about the conditions? Because we know the weather's been up and down the past 2 days. And we're hoping to get enough races in today, but we know that there's a possibility we may not be able to do the E-class, but we're hoping to.
Yeah, I mean, we've been watching the weather for the last week. We knew this front was coming.
Yeah.
So it's here now. You can see the wind is picking up. We've got some rain. We've got a pretty hard wind coming out of the west right now, so we do have some lee protection up under the bank here. But it does mean some pretty puffy conditions for the kids. And if you go offshore just a couple hundred feet, the conditions are much different than what we're feeling right here on shore.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've already had a report from the race course that it's pretty tough out there at the starting line. But you look on the screen, the kids are not having much trouble getting around the windward mark. I mean, these kids are used to sailing in pretty heavy conditions, and of course the Opties are so small and easy to handle that these guys can handle them in most any conditions. If you were watching the screen earlier, you saw that the Luther kids are doing very, very well. They've got all 4 kids in the top 5. And it's funny when you look at all the different classes that we're sailing, you have specific clubs doing well in each class. So
Yes.
in the Opties, Martine's kids from Savannah Sound and Luther are obviously at the top of the pile there. He spends a lot of time. He's the national coach for the Bahamas, so it's not surprising that their kids are doing well.
Right.
Taryn is currently leading this race. Her brother is the overall leader in points. He's in about 3rd place right now in this race.
Which sailing club is that?
That's the Luther Sailing Academy in
Okay.
Savannah Sound, so they're doing very well in the Opties. And then if you go to the Sunfish, it's pretty much between Exuma and the BNSS, holding pretty much all the top 5 spots in the Sunfish.
Okay.
And in the Lasers, it's all the BNSS and RNSC, the sailing clubs here in Nassau are doing very well in the Lasers.
So has there been any surprises for you?
I mean, we've had, let's see, in the sloops, we've had a couple of surprises. Kids that are in the sloops for the first or second time are doing very
Yes.
well handling the boats in some challenging conditions. Certainly the kids from the Luther sailing Papa, I believe that's Finley. He got a 3rd in the last race yesterday. That
Yeah.
was pretty impressive.
Thank you.
The kids from Grand Bahama and 2 brothers, they haven't been very consistent, but they've had like a 5th place finish, which is really good for them.
Okay.
And even Finley's sister, Taryn, she's sailing Bangtown Woman. She's been pretty consistent with the top 6 or 7 in the race. So that's
Brother and sister combination.
Obviously, the kids from Exuma are doing very well in the sloops. They spend a lot of time sailing those boats.
Why is that?
Why is that? We're lucky in Exuma. We have a ton of regattas on our own island, so they get to sail a lot.
Yes.
I guess it takes some coaching, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, they're doing very well. The conditions don't face them as much as they face them a lot. And that's one thing about the sloops. You know they sink, so
Yeah.
it's always in the back of your mind when you're sailing.
To
So
be
if
very
you're not
careful.
used to the conditions, it
Right.
does
Yes.
unnerve you a little bit.
Yeah.
Not really sure what they can handle. So it is good to see the kids being brave and getting out there on the water and sailing the E-class in various conditions. And you mentioned the weather today in the E-class, and we're not sure right now how that's going to look this afternoon. Obviously, the kids' safety is of utmost importance.
Right.
And then we have to take into account that we are using other owners' boats, and we
Yes.
don't want to damage
Yes.
other people's equipment.
especially knowing that
The
we've already
last
got
day.
4 races in. So we can determine a champion based on the points we have now. And there's a pretty decent separation between the top boats and the rest of the fleet. So 2 more races might not make a huge difference in the overall standings at the top of the podium. So all this comes into play when we make a decision. And we're going to make that after the Sunfish and the Lasers are done sailing. So we'll know more in a little bit, depending on what the weather does.
Now, I asked you before we went on about these kids participating in E-Class for the first time. How proud are you that these guys are doing well?
Very proud, and I'm really impressed with the owners that have allowed us to use their boats. 20 E-Class out here for the kids to use. I was really impressed with that. I mean,
It's a real regatta.
it is. It's the biggest junior
huge
fleet I've
regatta.
seen. I mean, that's
Yes.
insane. And these owners love and care for these boats. You're a boat owner. I'm a boat owner. We know how
Yes.
much
I didn't see
work
Catch the Cat
it
out there.
takes.
I didn't see Cat, but that's
That's a
that's
C-Class.
E-Class.
That's a C-Class.
But
But
you need to get
just,
an E-Class boat.
just to allow a
Right.
kid that you know is not experienced in these boats to take your boat and
Yeah.
sail it, I mean,
Yes.
hats off to the owners
Yes.
to allowing them to do that. I'm
Definitely.
really happy with the turnout and the response that we had from the boat owners.
Yeah.
Really happy about that. And the kids are doing very well. And I would love to get more E-Class into clubs and schools around the Bahamas so they can get really comfortable in the E-Class.
Yes.
Because the
Yes.
more comfortable they are, the more races we can run, the more we can
Yep.
sail in conditions that are maybe a little hazardous right now,
Yep,
but if the
yep.
kids are adapted at using the boats, we can sail. So that's the plan, to get a little more experience under our belt for next year, and maybe we'll have more boats, we'll have better sailors, and I think the sky's the limit. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
What,
And I was talking.
what I was able to see, the difference between what happened with the sailors in the first race versus the second race. You know that those a lot of them would have been on the boat for the first time, but you saw the difference in terms of how they handled the boats in the second race versus the first.
Yeah.
So persons were able to get around the
adapted.
course a lot quicker.
Yeah.
With less difficulty, which means that they're learning, they're becoming adept to it, and it's really going well.
Yeah.
Okay, bear with us, please. We're having a bit of an issue with the wind, so if we do go down, it's because
Got
of the
some
rain.
more rain coming, so
So we're just going to cut for a short break.
oh boy.
We're down, Megan. All right, we're back. We don't have visual, but we do have audio because we are having issues with the rain. So just please bear with us as we continue to bring you coverage via audio. So we're going to continue to bring the play-by-play.
I think to the best of our knowledge, I was looking at the boats while they're coming through the line. They're all finishing up now, but we did have a lot of the ESA, Eleuthera Sailing Academy boats at the front. MJ Nash was certainly up in there. I don't know if she won the race, but she was in the top two. Finley was in the top 2 or 3. His sister Taryn Javian was in there. Emmett Knowles from Exuma was in there. So a couple of them managed to finish. They were really, really flying to the finish line, like full speed for an Opti on top of the water, skipping across the waves. I don't see any like real breakdowns. I know a couple of boats have been towed in, but it's definitely after that initial burst of rain came through, it's calmed down a little bit. So the rest of the boats are cruising to the finish right now.
Dallas, these kids ever sailed in these type of conditions?
Oh yeah,
so they're used to this.
Yep. I mean, when you practice, 3 or 4 times a week, you're going to face this from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing with sailing. Once a race gets started and conditions change, it's very rare that the race committee stops a race. But if they do, it's because the conditions become unbearable.
Right.
But even within that space, it's up to the sailor to determine whether they can continue or whether they need to withdraw.
Yeah, and I mean with these little boats, these boats can sail in like 30 knots of breeze if you know what you're doing. So we're facing like 15 knots right now. I mean, they can sail in this if they know what they're doing and they can handle it. Luckily, this is the championship fleet, so these are the more skilled sailors, not the green fleet. The green fleet certainly would not go out in these conditions.
And then the wind is coming out of the southwest, so the harbor is pretty.
It's pretty calm.
It's pretty flat, so we don't have the rough water that they have to compete against.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure the kids are wishing it was August right now and
a little warmer.
Not February. They're going to be a little cool. Hopefully, they got the hot chocolate waiting when they get back on shore. But
yes, but it's still raining. And our sailors, the last of the sailors within that first race, they're coming to the finish line.
Yep.
And the others are hopefully getting ready for the second race if it gets started.
And I think the wind has shifted even more because the starting boat is pointing directly at us right now. So the windward mark is going to have to move more towards us. So they're probably determining if they're going to go ahead and go through all that effort or if they're just going to send them back in.
Yeah.
But that will be their call. We have one more boat coming to the finish. I can see the orange shirt from here. That's one of the Exuma sailors. That's Christopher Thompson. He sailed in the Green Fleet just last year in Nationals, so he's a relatively newer sailor in the championship fleet, but he's making his way around.
Well, the conditions are not optimal, but we're still getting some action on the water.
Yeah, and it really does make the kids tough. When they face these conditions the first time, it can be a little daunting, but then the next time they face it, they actually look forward to it. They're excited, and this is what they talk about when they come off the water. They talk about the experiences like this, not the perfect days. It's these ones that they remember for sure.
Remember the junior regatta where all that rain came down?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. And it beat you?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we've had squalls come through where you lose sight of the boats, and it's just like a complete gray out.
That's what I was going to ask you. In terms of vision, like they getting hit in their face with rain out there.
No, they
you just
blinking plenty.
Yep. Yeah, that's all.
Yep.
Putting the wipers on.
That's it. And some are wearing glasses or something like that. So you just try to clear those and keep moving.
This is definitely a unique sport.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
it is.
Definitely.
At least in the NFL, those guys got helmets.
Right.
And helmets out there.
Unfortunately, there's no lightning or thunder or anything like that because if that had happened, the race automatically would have been stopped.
Absolutely. If this was the summertime, then definitely would have been lightning by now.
Yeah, this would have been over.
Yep.
Well, we expected there would be some rain today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we got it.
We did. Hopefully, this is just the rain that was supposed to come this afternoon is coming through now, and it'll be done, and maybe we can
blow out.
Have the rest of the day. But as of right now, it looks like they're staying out. I mean, they're already out there. The conditions aren't dangerous. They might as well go ahead and do the last race and get these guys off the water, and then they'll decide what they want to do with the Sunfish and the Laser fleet. But the Sunfish and the Lasers could easily handle these conditions as well.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Dallas. Which is the faster race? The Opti, the Laser, the Sunfish?
The Laser's definitely the fastest.
Laser.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's why, like yesterday, the races took literally 10 minutes.
They were done.
They were fast.
Very fast.
You blinked and it was over.
Yeah.
How do you compare the speed to the E-Class?
The E-Class, they chug along at like maybe 4 or 5 knots on a great day. Like yesterday we had good wind with flat water. That's when they can go the fastest. That was probably about top speed for the E-Class yesterday. And
Right. But it's not comparable.
no, the
comparable.
lasers are
Yeah,
3
not
times
comparable.
faster. Easily.
Wow.
3
Not
times
comparable.
faster, yeah.
Even
Maneuverability.
yes, all of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's totally different. Those
Yeah.
boats can spin on a dime. The
Yeah.
E-Class takes a far longer time
Yeah.
to tack and move around and all
Yeah,
of that.
and even the bigger sloops, like the A-Class and all that, everyone thinks the
Yeah.
A-Class is so much faster, but it's really it's a big, heavy boat that has a lot of power. But a laser would
run
lap
fast.
would lap an A-Class
Yeah.
5 times
Wow.
in one
in
race.
no
Yeah.
time.
In no
Yeah,
time.
no
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Wow.
And then those are fiberglass hulls.
Yeah.
They're much lighter. Those
Yeah.
are precision boats.
Yeah.
Our boats, the
cut into
sloops
the water.
are sloops. You have a lot of drag,
Mm-hmm.
and then you, like Dallas said, it's a big, heavy boat.
Yeah.
Those boats sometimes carry about 10,000 pounds of lead in
Yeah.
the A-class. So.
Yeah. And
You're
for a lot of
pulling
people-
all of that through the water.
For a lot of people don't know, the lead is really for the mast.
And no, that's the ballast.
That's the ballast,
to,
okay.
to keep the boat stable.
Without
and
it,
then you
the
still
boat would
have
tip over.
15,
Yeah.
15 crew members
Yeah.
riding the pry and
Yeah.
all that.
And they're not light.
They're not light at all.
At least some of these guys in the regattas, they don't look light to me.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's 2 different types of hulls. So the
Yeah.
sloop, the Bahamian sloop, is a displacement hull. So it's displacing water deep below the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are planing hulls. These boats skip across the top of the water.
Okay.
So there's hardly any of the hull of these boats
That's
under the water
inside.
at all.
Okay,
So
okay.
when the wind gets going, they get on
It
top
just-
of the waves and they just skip across.
So are they designed then for they're better conditions? They're designed for better conditions.
They're designed it's a different type of sailing.
It's
like
speed.
it's like a power boat
Okay.
Yeah,
that can
it's
get up
speed.
on top of the water
Right.
versus a yacht
Okay.
that just pushes everything
or,
through the water.
or a mail boat.
Or a mail boat,
Yeah,
yeah.
because the mail boat is carrying more freight, it's carrying more. It's causing more displacement, where in the other boats, it's almost like America's Cup race boats now.
Okay.
They're actually out of the water.
They're out of the water.
That's precision. They move faster than the wind is
Yeah,
blowing.
they're rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
faster
really
than the
crazy.
wind is blowing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. It's
it is
correct.
crazy.
You know.
I mean, it'll be blowing 6, 7 knots, and those boats are going 30 miles an hour. Like,
Yeah,
how
you'd
do
be
they
like,
do
how's that
that?
happen?
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost like sailing.
It's like flying.
It's more like flying.
It's getting
now.
less and less
Yeah.
like sailing.
Yeah, more like flying.
Yeah, they're going to reset the course slightly because the wind has moved so much.
Yeah, and the rain has eased up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're hopefully.
In fact, the committee boat has one of the buoys in, so you already see them repositioning stuff.
so they're setting up for the second race.
And this is
Right.
a really small course. Really
Yeah.
small. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's final day. It's the Durward Knowles National Junior Sailing Championship. I know it's a mouthful,
It is.
and
yeah.
but we are trucking forward and trying to get these races out.
And we got a kid in the water on your screen right now. He must have dropped,
Oh, man.
dropped a baler or something. And
Oh,
picking
gone
it up.
man,
after it.
they better have some hot coffee for him.
The water might actually be warmer, but he's going to be cold when he gets out. That's
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
breeze.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the rain seems to have gone away
Yeah.
quite a bit, and some of the wind has gone with it as well.
Yeah.
So this is good for the conditions for sailing.
Yeah.
And the kids should be able to manage, and everything should be good in a few minutes.
Yeah. I was thinking you were talking about that earlier, how the conditions change so quickly in the water, and it's really about who adapts quicker
Exactly.
and,
It-
you know, is able to
it's,
take
it's-
advantage
it's
of
re-
that.
It's responding because the more seasoned skipper is going to see the breeze, they're going to adjust.
Oh, we're back.
Steering to
We're
it.
back on camera, guys.
oh,
So
definitely.
welcome back.
Yes.
Those who were still tuned in with audio. So go on, mistaken, sorry.
Yeah, so it's adjusting to the conditions that's presented to you. Remember, you're all out on the water, but you're responding differently to the conditions.
And who
And
responds
that-
better?
That's usually the one who's out front.
Yeah.
You know, and experience plays a big role in how you're seeing things and how you're responding to them as well.
How much does luck factor into sailing?
I was just going to say, there's
Yeah.
some.
It's some luck.
Definitely some luck. Like, let's say, take the second E-Class race on the first day. At the final downwind rounding, Mako was in 5th place.
Yes.
Right? And all
Yes.
the 4 boats ahead of him all went on one side.
And he went
so
on the other
Emmett
side.
said, I got nothing to lose. I'm going on the other side.
Yeah.
And the wind happened to move in his favor, and he won the race.
He's
So,
a pretty good sailor.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's some luck
Yeah.
there, but you know, that's what you do when you're behind. You put all your
Take a
all your-
chance.
you take a chance.
Yeah.
You have to.
Because you can't catch them following
Nope,
them.
can't follow.
So you make another
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
It's a chess game.
It is a chess game out there.
You know.
It looks beautiful when you're out there to see
Yeah.
the different directions these guys go in, and then when they tack.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
because sometimes you're like, what is the boat doing way out there? And next thing you know, they're like in first place. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and
It is.
that's probably the most confusing thing.
It is.
for people that need
The
to
first time I was
understand
out there, I
what's
didn't know
sailing.
what they
Yeah,
were
like,
doing.
Why don't they
Right.
just go to the next buoy?
Yeah.
Why are they going this way and that
Yeah.
way? And that's all to do with angles that boats can sail. They can't sail into the wind. They
Yeah.
can only sail at certain angles. So
but when they converge, that's when it gets exciting.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yes.
buoy.
Oh,
Oh, man.
And, you know, the thing is, once the course is long enough, usually you won't have this big bottleneck of boats
Yeah.
coming to it.
Yeah.
But usually, especially in Georgetown National Family Island Regatta, you have over 30 C-class boats.
Yep.
So you will have up
You
to
can imagine
10,
that.
10 of them going to one mark at the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Some coming the wrong way,
Yeah.
some coming. And you could have collisions, you could have all sorts of things happening.
Yeah.
It looks chaotic from the top when you see it. And
Right.
then they just
And then they
zone
just-
into the buoy. And,
And then
it's like,
everybody
okay, now
just clears up.
Yeah.
And it
Right,
can get
so-
chaotic at the buoy too.
It does.
Right.
I've seen it. I've seen
Yeah.
collisions.
In the C class for sure, because those
Yeah.
boats are, you know, pretty well matched. So
Yeah.
they're all going mostly the same speed. So even if it takes them 15 minutes to get to the buoy, they're all going to get there about the
All
same
at the same
time.
time.
Yes.
And so we, you know, as a race committee, you try to stretch the course out as long as you can
Yeah.
to try to give them space.
Yes.
Yeah, like if you had to do this course right here in the C class,
Oh, that's going to be
Forget
hell.
about it.
Yeah, that's going to be hell. You could have almost everybody coming to
and
the
you'd have
mark
30
at the
boats
same
at the
time.
buoy at the exact
Yeah,
same time.
that's not gonna
Impossible.
work.
Yeah.
But why is the C class so much? It's more popular now than all the other classes. Is it because there are?
Yeah, it's a little more manageable. You only
Okay.
need 5
Yeah.
So
people
it's
to
easier.
sail
It's
it.
easier to sail.
It's less expensive than the bigger classes.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would say the E class is
E-class is-
probably becoming
E-class is picking
more
up?
popular.
it has
Yeah.
already surpassed the C class
Yeah,
from
because
my
you-
estimation.
Yeah, you can build it for a
Yeah.
third of the price.
Right.
You can
And
trailer it
two-
easily.
two
2
crew
people can
members.
sail it.
You
Which
launch
means-
the boat yourself.
Which means that these junior sailors are going to
They're
come
in
with
the-
these regattas
they're
to
in
beat
the
up.
perfect,
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
in the perfect place right now.
Yeah.
Yep, and in Georgetown, we're going to have the juniors sailing with the adults in the E class.
Wow.
So they'll get scored as juniors, but they'll also get scored overall. So
Right.
technically, a junior sailor could
Could
win
win.
the
Could win
overall E
both.
class
Yeah, they could win both.
and the junior.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting in Georgetown.
Yeah.
I agree. I think these kids can hang with the big boys just as easily as anybody else.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they've shown it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have.
In fact,
in
they've
farmer
been
ski, in farmer ski
in
didn't
farmer ski.
Yeah.
Yes.
didn't Joss and
Right.
Josh.
They ended up
Joss
with
sailed
third.
Yeah.
termite. Yeah.
Yeah, they ended up third.
Ended up
So,
third.
and then even with the E-class in previous years, they
yeah.
placed really well
Yeah.
among the adults as
Yeah,
well.
in 2022, One Bahamas tied for the championship in the
Wow.
E class. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tonnage was sailing that. So yeah, they can do it.
Yeah, Tonnage is tenacious.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't like to lose.
No, he's one of our.
I don't know if that's
more-
just an Exoma thing or he don't like to lose.
No, that's in his blood, boy. Trust
Yeah.
me. Yeah, he
Uh-huh.
he is
You know-
always tinkering with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fun.
And that's what makes a good sailor.
Yeah.
You never settle.
No.
You're always trying to find out, how do I get more speed? How do I perform better?
Yeah.
How do I make better decisions?
Yeah.
Those are all in the works for the better skippers.
Absolutely.
You know, we have others who are just sailing, but
Yeah.
the ones who are going to win are the ones who are going to put the extra time in.
And
Yeah.
that is very consistently true because we see that across the board with our kids. The
Yeah.
ones that put in the time and make sure everything is right on their boat,
Yeah.
they have fewer breakdowns and they have higher positions pretty consistently. And then you have some that they're always breaking down.
Yeah.
Right.
Why are you always breaking down? Because you didn't check this, you didn't
Yeah.
check that.
Ahead
You
of
just,
There's a lot,
time.
there's a lot
you
of
just threw
preparation.
everything on
Yeah.
and you went on the water
Yeah.
and then of course something doesn't work. So
We
you-
call it the rigging, not the rigging, the trimming.
yeah,
The
no, the
trim-
rigging, like
the
yeah,
rigging and the
everything.
trimming,
Okay.
all of those go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because you're going to get your boat up to a maximum performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only way you do it is by tinkering with things. You make sure that the head stays right. You make sure that the mast is okay. You make sure that all the weight is where it should be. And
Yeah.
even when you're sailing the boat, you have to make sure that you're in the right place.
Okay. So let's break down the percentage. How much of sailing is race preparation, skill, luck?
All right, you go first. You go first.
I mean, okay.
For me, luck only works for you in lighter winds.
Okay.
You're in the wrong place, and a shift happens in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
That's less than whatever.
Well, let's
But
check
I
and see
think in
if we're
terms
still, if we're still live.
but in terms of preparation, I think preparation is the biggest part of this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what percentage I'll give it. I probably about 60% of it.
60%?
And then all the skill and all of that add to your preparation.
Yeah, I would say it's
know?
similar. Yeah, definitely more than half is preparation.
Yeah.
Because if your boat is tuned in and fast, then it
Exactly.
requires less of your skill to
You
get
were-
it to the front.
You were talking about that
Yeah.
earlier, Dallas, that the boats that these kids are racing in today, they give everyone equal opportunity and chance to win.
Right, the
But
opti
with
is.
the sloops, you can have an edge based on the design of your boat.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think you said earlier that a particular gentleman, I don't know if anybody knows, Durward Knowles, has got the fastest boat in the fleet.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
arguably the fastest.
Arguably the
yes,
fastest boat.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah,
it
the
gives them an
argument
edge.
can be made. And I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the E-class races, you can't tell me that all those boats are exactly the same.
Right,
I mean,
'cause they're
within,
not.
They look the
within
same.
4
Yeah,
minutes,
but they're not.
the fleet is
Yeah,
completely
it's
stretched
separated.
out.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
separated.
I mean, a ton of that is preparation. Like take Joss for example, who's doing very well in the E-class. He has a journal where he has everything written down
Wow.
of every race he's ever raced, where he put his lead, what the conditions were, where him and his crew sat, what they did differently. I mean,
Right.
and he studies that.
Right.
So
Wow.
that's what gets you in the front of the fleet.
That's the preparation.
Yeah, and especially if
Yeah.
you're sailing these boats for the first time, you don't have that wealth of knowledge behind you. It's going to be really hard for you to get to the front.
Right.
And that's 5 years of prep for him to get
And
to
then
where
Joss
he is.
has been sailing the same boat
Yeah. You get
for
used
that
to it.
whole time. So these new sailors who would have just jumped on that particular boat for this regatta, this is the first time they're one sailing an E-class boat
Yeah.
and then sailing that particular boat.
Yes.
So they don't even know the peculiarities of that boat.
Yeah.
No.
They're just hoping that they can get it right or that the boat is already up to speed.
And
Yeah.
that's
you know.
why I'm very impressed with some of the results from some of these kids in the E-class
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they really are going in blind. They don't know what's under their floorboard or where that lead needs to go or what their sail needs to look like. They're sailing. They got a lot of talent, and they're making the boats go very fast, and they're doing some really, really amazing things.
Yes.
Break. Okay, so we're just going to go.
We gonna party till the morning light. Party time. Star again, yeah. Pick up the phone, call up the crew. What y'all do when you're control? Yes, we about to have us a party, yeah. Don't know when we going, but we moving through. It's the weekend time on the island. You know what to do. Are we not afraid of the fun? No. Are we not afraid of the rum? No. Are we not afraid of the biggest wine? If you're bad, then come. I feel like dancing all night long. Can't let nobody stop me from grooving to this song.
Are you serious?
We party till can't let nobody worry me. It's a weekend time. I feel like dancing. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, oh, Thank you for giving me your love and so much more. Let go, let go, let go. Can't wait to touch your skin so much better than
All I can tell y'all is that it's about to go down.
if only you knew. Got a red for chunk of milk. Back up on you. Come on and get me down. Rewind the tune. We only rock only for you. You don't know. Come true, queen. Here is your red carpet. Yeah, come true, queen. Girl, you looking so good, good, good. Yeah. Come true, queen. Oh, show the world how you do it, baby. Come true, queen. Girl, you bad, 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 bad. Too blessed to be stressed now. Shout out to the best, baby. Don't let them confuse you. Don't let them lead you. Show them that you're royalty. Bow down to her majesty. Shine on when I'm high, but do you come true, queen?
Welcome back, everybody. We're just going through a few technical issues with the weather, so please bear with us. But we're about to start the second race of is it opting?
Opti Championship.
Opti Championship fleet.
Yes.
So we're back, and hopefully we can get some more races in. The weather cooperates with us, and we can have another exciting day of races here at the Durward Championship.
On your screen right now, I can't believe those are the same conditions.
Right.
It looks like night.
Yes.
It's literally like night and day. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
In a matter of a few minutes.
Yeah. The weather's cooperating, so we're
Yeah, and the
Hopefully
race
get some-
committee has already adjusted the marks to compensate for the wind shift.
always changing all day.
Start its own. Yep.
Always changing. So if you're joining us, we were talking about just the kids getting their feet wet with the E-Class race. And,
1 minute to start. 1 minute to start.
oh,
Okay.
oh,
Let it go.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's it behind you.
oh, we were not on?
Relax, so just listen to me. Don't talk to me.
Sorry.
So right now, if we just look right out here, the windward mark is 50 feet from the Montague shoreline. So great for spectators. The boats are going to be coming right in here and turning that mark, so you'll get to see all the sail numbers and all the kids up close. Standing out there on the rocks. So you'll
Okay.
show that.
So we have a race time start in 1 minute.
Well, less than a minute.
Less than a
now.
minute.
Yes. Excellent spectators race, as Dallas was just stating. So if you are on the Montague foreshore, you're able to come right and you
Yeah,
can
it's a close
see
race.
everyone turning the windward mark.
If you,
For those that don't understand how the starts work, it's a countdown,
Mhm.
and the committee boat will put up certain flags so the sailors know how much time is left.
Okay.
What they do is they use their watches and try to time the start, so right when it hits zero,
okay.
they have a lot of speed and they go right to the starting line.
Okay.
But if you're over the line, there's a penalty, so you got to go back through the line and start again. So you want to be aggressive, you don't want to be too aggressive because it
Right.
hurts you.
Yes.
But Ted, when you get down to these last couple races and there's podium finishes on the line and you got nothing to lose, kids are going to get really aggressive and try to really jump the start and get a perfect start. So in a short race like this, man, if you don't get a good start, you're probably not going to catch some of these guys.
Okay, we're about to start.
Yeah, in fact, you see everyone basically jockeying for position.
So is that what they do for this particular race? They don't anchor the boat. There's no
No.
anchoring. It's just
yeah, you're just
You're
maneuvering,
just
trying
maneuvering
to
in and
stay behind the line, but trying to get the best vantage on the line to start.
and these guys are already trying to
They're already
strategically, place themselves.
place themselves. Yeah.
Okay, I just got a message from the race committee. They had a general recall. Okay, so that means they're resetting the race course.
Okay.
Okay.
They want all the boats to get back behind the starting line because they got to adjust something, which means there's likely been a huge shift in the wind. So they don't want to
Again.
start the race where the
Yes.
boats can sail directly to the windward mark or something. It doesn't make for a competitive race. So they're just
Okay.
going to readjust some things, and then they'll go
then
through the
get
start
started
sequence
again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
This is one thing spectators have to understand in sailing. There's always something shifting and changing out there.
Yeah.
They're going
Right.
to start the race in 15 minutes? Nope. They're going to start the race in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, and a lot of times you look at the delays and you're like, oh, they can't get started.
Yeah, they can't
What's
get it
wrong with
together.
them? But,
But
I
there are
mean,
a
you
lot
can't
of
control
things
everything.
going
Yeah,
on.
the weather,
Lots
the weather
going
really
on.
does.
You
get
can't
a
control
big
Mother
stay.
Nature.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then with this weather system coming in, it's really kind of just settling in, so it's shifting things around, and the committee has to adjust.
They've been doing a good
based
job,
on
though.
that.
They've been doing a really good job. Excellent job out there with the
Excellent
kids.
job.
It's very difficult in these conditions to set a very, very good race course because they change so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really been a well-run.
Yeah, and I
Couple
mean,
of races.
Yeah, the clubs in Nassau and the helpers they have, they do this all the time, and they know exactly what they're doing. So it's normal for them to be able to adjust on the fly to these conditions. So
Right.
hats off to them for a great job. Karen Goodfellow's out there. She's the principal race officer on the committee boat. She's doing a great job running all the Opties and the Sunfish and Laser classes. Yesterday, the Green Fleet in particular, we weren't even sure they were going to go out, but they went out and they
Yes,
ran
they did
two
really
very
well.
clean
Yeah,
races.
very well.
So
Awesome.
hats off
Yes.
to them for that.
And then there's quite a number of boats that are out there. A lot of competitors out there. I think there are over 25 of them. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a lot of boats to see, and that's just one group of the Opties.
Yeah.
So if you put all of them together, I think there are well over 50.
Yeah,
That's a lot to
competitors.
It's
coordinate.
like 30
Yeah.
in each class, so it's like 60 Opties.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
really
lot.
good.
It's a lot to coordinate on the water.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids, well, I'd say, a significant portion of the championship fleet have sailed internationally at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So like certainly Finley, and he's not here, but Patrick and MJ they've sailed in world championships where you're facing fleets of over 100 boats.
Yeah.
And you can really see the difference.
Yeah, oh
you know,
yeah.
Oh, it's huge.
In the sailing acumen, you know,
Yeah,
they
it's
really
huge.
they separate themselves.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just last year, I think it was, no, 2 years ago in the World Championships, you know, Craig Ferguson was top 50 in the world, which is like, that was a breakthrough for the Bahamas.
That's significant.
Yeah, that's
and
significant.
and then right after that, the next year, Patrick and Zane are like top, beyond top 50s. I mean, like they really are establishing themselves on the world stage in the Opties, which is very difficult to do because it's easily the most popular sailing class in the world, has more sailors than any other class. So you know, every country has an Opti program, so you're going up against the entire world. And for you to be in the top 50 in the world is
that's
really
accomplishment.
impressive.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, it is.
Really remarkable.
And Mr. Higgins, your nephew, Joshua, he was
well,
in
that's-
Australia last time I spoke to him.
Right. Actually, even after Australia, he went to Greece.
Went to Greece.
But that's in the laser class.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and the Bahamas is really developing a lot of young sailors.
Yeah.
I got to meet, oh geez, what's his name? Cartwright. Who would have won the first 2 races in the laser? Norman.
Yeah.
Yep.
I met his mother and him. You know, and the thing is, we want to give a shout out to them.
Muriel.
Because he's
Long Island.
Right, Long Island.
Muriel
again.
Cartwright.
Yeah, so you know, there's him. There's Joshua Weish.
Yep.
They're trying to make it to the Junior Worlds,
Yep.
and you know that's putting the Bahamas
On the map. Yep.
yet again.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's money that the Ministry of Tourism doesn't have to spend
Yep.
in advertising.
Yep.
But everywhere our sailors go,
They're leaving a mark.
they carry our flag,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
They're leaving a-
means that people get to know that there's a country just south of the United States,
Yeah.
just a little dot on the map,
Yeah.
but they are making a mark
Yeah.
for this country.
Every time I talk to your nephew, and of course the time difference.
Right.
I'm looking at something 2 o'clock in the morning. He sent me. I'm like, wait a minute, where are you? Like, I'm in Barcelona. I'm like, okay.
Right, yeah, yeah.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah, he
I
is.
really commend him and
Yep.
all the young sailors who are sailing internationally. They're doing a
And
really,
it's
really
hard
great
work,
job.
and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, practice.
A lot of practice, a lot of training for the physical endurance,
Oh, yeah.
the mental endurance as well, because you're competing against so many.
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone doesn't respond to losses the same way,
Yep.
you know, and then also responding to successes, because you don't want to become arrogant. You want to continuously learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got to ask you this, Dallas. Is there a gold medal on the horizon?
Now, I was just going to talk about the Olympics because it is.
Yeah.
People ask that all the time. We do
Yeah.
have amazing sailors. Why aren't we in the Olympics? And you know, I wish it was as simple as we just could send somebody every year, every
No.
4 years to the Olympics. It's
A
not
lot
that
of work.
simple. Only 32 countries in the entire world get to send somebody. So
Wow.
you have to be
That seems
one.
like a small amount.
Yeah,
You have
one
to
of those
qualify.
top 32 sailors in the entire world. That's very difficult to
That's
do.
difficult.
Very difficult.
Hopefully we can get there.
I hope so. I think we can.
And then there's a lot of funding that's associated with it as well, because there's a level of training
Yep.
that's going to take that sailor over the top.
Yep.
And the experience, the exposure, the racing, all of these things. We talked earlier about experience. There are different experiences that's from sailing within the Bahamas, as opposed to sailing in Europe or sailing
Right,
in,
yeah.
in South America or whatever.
Yeah.
The courses are different.
Yeah.
The experience is different. So, you know, we need to be able to put a lot of resources into that.
Yeah.
And sailing is a career for some of these kids.
It
Definitely.
has to be if you
Yeah.
want to make it to that level. And yeah,
Yeah.
international exposure is huge. You have to have
Yes.
international exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
All right.
no way.
The race
rain-
just went off.
Okay.
The rain is
so
back too.
This will be the final
Yes, it is
Opti
back.
Championship race. And on your screen, number 17. Let's just do a quick check on who that is. All right, that's Rudolph Ferguson. And I just saw behind him was number 77.
Rudolph was with which sailing club?
Rudolph Ferguson is with the BNSS.
Okay.
Okay, there's 110. Who was 110? 110, 110. Boy, there's a lot of sail numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to look for the usual cast of characters at some point. We're going to have Finley. We're going to have Taryn. Oh, another general recall. Boy.
Oh, wow.
Something, either too many were over the line or something happened, but they brought them all back again. So
So they
that,
redo this.
that happens if like more than half the fleet jumps the line early.
Okay.
They bring everybody back. And then
Start over.
Yeah, what they'll do
Yeah.
to stop them from doing that is they'll start with a different flag. You see them using the blue flag to start with?
Yes.
All right, and then they'll put a different flag up, and what that'll basically tell the sailors is there's going to be a harsher penalty
Yep.
if you go over the line.
Yep.
So
yeah.
those sailors will be penalized.
Oh,
yeah, so they'll be
partially.
less likely to be aggressive at the start. They'll kind of hold back and make sure they're not over the line. And if it gets bad enough, they'll put up a black flag, which means they're disqualified if they're over the line. So
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
they rarely do that in opties, but they might start putting up a different flag if that's the reason there was the general recall. There may have been some wind issues or something else that caused them to come back.
Even the wind is picking up now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy.
And
Man.
The rain is back. The
Yep.
wind is back.
yeah.
Yep. And that's like the thing you're always thinking about if you're about to run a race. Like, it's great now, but what's it going to be like in 5
2
minutes?
minutes,
Yeah,
right.
like we don't want to
Yes.
put the kids out there and then
And
this
any
comes
risk.
through.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
especially in the sloops,
Yeah.
where it's a lot bigger risk of things breaking and boats sinking.
Yeah, because it's always safety first.
Yeah.
Show what I'm the sound.
Just checking. We have audio.
I can hear you again.
Okay,
We still have video.
I just can't hear myself.
I get it. Right, I can hear.
All right. Oh, yeah, there we go.
just,
We're
we just
back.
lost audio
All
for a
right.
bit. We're back now.
Yes.
Excellent.
We do apologize for everybody who's tuning in. Conditions are not the best today, but
Oh, but hats off to the
Hats off to
film
them.
crew and everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got video on screen and it's pouring
We're
rain
still rocking
here.
it, we're
and
still rolling.
That's very,
Yes.
very good. And I got great shots of the kids right now. You can
yeah,
clearly
we got the
see
easy
them.
job.
Yeah, we get to
Those
sit there
guys up there.
comfortably, and
Yeah.
they're out there getting wet and cold.
Yeah. They're getting pulled back to the line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just hope that these guys can get it. Are they going to start? They're back to the starting line.
Well, they're
Alex?
back.
Yeah, the general
In the
recall
area,
flag
yes.
is down.
Okay, so they're back.
They're going. Oh no, wait. They're checking the wind. I think they're holding up a flag right now.
And nobody can tell this, but Dallas is actually looking out. He can tell all this is happening from
Yeah,
our
looking
vantage
at,
point.
Looking at the committee
Yeah.
vote.
He's
to
not
see
even
what's
looking at the
happening
screen. He's
there.
looking out of the water.
Let's
So
see. Okay, so I see. I see a dark flag right there, but I don't see the Opti class flag. So there's some sort of delay while they're checking some things. I guess they just want to make sure that it's safe for the kids. Obviously, they want to make sure that the wind isn't going to do a big shift or there's not a big wave of rain coming through or something.
yeah, so they're just hoping that they can.
Yeah, but all the kids are off to the side. They're not in the starting line area, which tells me that they have not started a new sequence.
Okay.
So they're just waiting right now. And this is something we cannot do in the sloops. We can't just hang around with our sails up, flapping in the wind,
we
waiting. No
drop
way.
anchor, drop the sail,
Yeah.
and wait it up.
No way. Something would break
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's surprising that how many damages we have with those boats. Even
Yeah.
though they look so sturdy and they look like they can
Yeah.
handle anything. Like a hurricane could come in and nothing's going to happen to a sloop.
Yeah.
But they the
Until
mast
something
break.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they take a beating.
They do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
they
a,
do.
there's a ton of pressure on the hardware on the sloops, and the mast being so big,
Yeah.
you don't realize, like, when the boat starts rocking in waves and chop and that mast starts moving just a little bit, the amount
Yeah.
of pressure it puts on the bottom of the mast step
Right.
and the cables and everything. And
They snap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so they have a black flag up, and if they're in their starting sequence, that would mean that you will be disqualified if you go
cross
over the
over.
line.
Okay.
And it
I see the
also
red flag now.
it also means you cannot race. So if you go over the line and they call your number, you got to get off the race course
Just get out.
and go back to the sailing club. You
Oh,
cannot
wow.
race. And you are also not allowed to throw that race out as one of your discards. So it's a really harsh
So
penalty.
it's a
Wow.
double penalty there.
Yeah, like you
Wow.
really don't want to be over the line. So that'll force the kids to really hold back
Yes.
and make sure they're
Yes.
not over the line, because you're done.
You're dealing with enough with them. They got to be disciplined.
Right. Yeah.
And then Dallas described the situation where, and it goes back to those who are the better sailors.
Right.
They're going to have some time machine, whether it's a little clock on the near the mast that they can see. They basically have a stopwatch. So
Yeah.
once that flag comes down,
Right.
they press the stopwatch, and it gives them a clear indication of how much time they have
Okay.
before the actual race. So you don't even have to look at the flag.
No.
Oh.
You're looking at the
That's
time.
another
in your
signal for
boat.
them.
Okay.
Right, and the better sailors are the ones who are able to utilize that, whether it's using an iPhone or using any type of timing device.
Right.
That's helpful because you don't want to be looking up when you could be focusing on how I'm going to get started.
Yeah,
you know.
for sure. Yeah, you have to have a watch. If you don't have a watch, you're flying blind.
No.
You're guessing. The best you could do is when they put the flag down for 1 minute, you can start counting in your head. But I mean, how accurate are you going to be with that?
Exactly.
So you're going to have a bad start if you don't have a watch.
Before we start, I want to ask you, Mr. Higgins, did you ever sail in an Opti or Blazer?
No.
Never.
The only time I was in an Opti was several years ago when they started the Opti, and we were doing some training of the kids in Harbor Island.
Okay.
And just so that I could show them that I could sail
You jumped in.
the boat, I
Yeah.
jumped in. But because of my height, I wasn't as
said
big
height.
then.
You said
because
height, not
of my,
weight.
because of my height, I
Yeah.
wasn't able to really
Okay.
work in the boat. I could, but it was a little bit of a problem. That's
Okay.
why the Opti is really for smaller bodied children.
Okay.
But I just wanted to show them
Yeah.
how to do what they needed to do. You know, but not racing them.
I know this may be touchy for some of the older sailors. Are these guys going to be better than the generation that they're
They should be.
they're going to be like when they get to the sloops,
They are going to
the
be
regattas
better.
are going to be way more competitive
Yeah,
because these guys have such
they
skill.
They have one particular ability that most of the sailors in the sloops don't have. They know the rules, and they're disciplined.
Yeah.
Which means that they know and they respect time.
Yeah.
They respect the camaraderie that should exist on the race course,
Yeah.
where you fouled someone, you apologize, you move on.
Yeah.
With the sloops right now,
Yeah.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, so they will be better than we are.
Yep. The
Excellent.
race
Okay, the race is on its
underway.
way.
The race is
Here
on.
we go.
Yes.
I don't see anybody retired, so I assume it was a clean start. Everybody seems to be racing, which
That's
is
good.
great.
And we have most boats on a starboard tack. We
Yep.
only have one.
And they're going to be
sailor.
coming straight towards us,
They're
right?
going to be coming straight
Yeah, they're
towards
coming.
us. Most of these boats are going to get here in maybe 2 tacks. It's going to be very
Yeah,
quick.
short order.
Very quick. And as they get up in here, boy, you're going to see a lot of big puffs and shifts. So the boats are going to lean over real extreme, and they're going to flop back when the wind shifts. And
Yep.
yeah, boy, it's going to take
Someone already tacked?
take
We
some
have
skill.
several already tacking.
Oh,
There
yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, boy.
Got to tell you.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Coming in, it's
Yep.
going to be fun. So I'm not sure which boat this is.
That's 119. That's Michaela.
119.
She's from the Exuma Eleuthera Sailing Academy.
Yeah, in fact,
How have the girls been doing?
Yep.
How have the girls been doing, Dallas?
The girls have been doing really well. Obviously, Mary Jack is poised for second overall in the Opti Championship fleet.
Okay.
So she's doing very well. In the lasers, Katie Kelly won the first race yesterday, and then she
Oh,
was third in the
nice.
second race. Unfortunately, she didn't sail in the first day, so she's not going to be in the top podium finishes. But
Right.
still, a really good day for her yesterday. And then in the sloops, we have the Taryn and the girls from Eleuthera in Baintown Woman doing very well. And then obviously MJ and Eliza, they've actually become pretty experienced in Captain Peg at this point. They've been sailing that boat for over 2 years, so they're doing really well. Had some unfortunate collisions that cost them
right.
some points.
Yes.
Sienna Jones is in Judgment D. She's in the top 5 as well. So yeah, the Lightfoot Key girls are doing very, very well in the sloops.
Okay, we have what seems to be a girl up front here, right?
No, that's Finley,
That's
111. Yep, the red
Okay.
111. He's on your middle of your
yes.
screen right now. So he is the leader in points.
Yeah.
And
leading-
may
lead again.
likely
Leading
be the
this
leader
race.
in this race.
Yeah.
Behind him is MJ, number 77. And behind her, 150, that's Callum Pritchard.
Okay.
So those look like your top
Those are
3
your
coming to
leaders,
the
yeah.
mark right now.
Caleb is doing better. He was talking about how he wanted to step it up
Yeah.
in the upcoming races, so
And
that's good.
He has moments where he does extremely well, but he's
Yeah.
been pretty consistently
Yeah,
in
he was a little down,
5th
and
and
then
8th place. Yeah, that's pretty good.
that's good. It's bouncing back.
So they're around. That's Finley is first, MJ is second, Callum is in third right now. 119, there's Michaela. She's coming to the mark as well.
We have a kind of bottle.
Yeah, it's a little
Kinda
bottle.
Yeah,
a
they're
little-
piling up for sure.
yeah, At least 5 or 6 of them.
119.
together.
Yeah, 119 is Michaela.
Michaela.
122 is Armand. And Armand has the reputation of being the nicest sailor in the fleet.
What
Everybody
does that
loves
mean?
Is that even a thing to
Armand.
be a nice sailor?
I don't know if he's tenacious when he's racing, but everyone loves him as a person. So
Okay.
hats off to Armand for being a great
I don't
guy.
think I've ever met a nice sailor at a regatta. They like to, brag a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
man, I'm a nice sailor.
You're,
Yeah,
a,
that's
you're,
true.
a, you're a nice guy,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Higgins is a nice sailor. You're right.
imagine if you win the regatta, the whole regatta.
Nah,
Would you change? You're not going to
It
change.
doesn't change.
No.
It doesn't change. I've done that before. It doesn't change.
Yeah, I love supporting you out there.
Boy, they are coming around hot
Oh,
and heavy.
yeah.
Boy, look how quick
Yeah,
everyone's
so
going around
so
these marks.
many.
Yep.
Oh,
Oy,
one's
big
almost
lean.
over. Yeah.
Yep, you got to maintain control on that jibe because the boat's going to want to swerve if you don't let that sail out. So you got to spill the sail when you do the jibe.
Oh, they're handling that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
masterfully.
When you say spill the sail, what do you mean?
You got to
Yeah,
let the
let
main
it
sheet out. You got to let the
quickly.
sail out.
Okay, just okay.
Yeah,
Take
let,
the
yeah,
pressure
let some
out of
power
it.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the boat's going to want to tip over on you.
Yeah.
Now, you
Oh,
were telling
they
me
did
earlier that
really well.
when there's more wind, the sails need to be smaller.
Yeah, but we can't do that in the Optis.
Okay.
Right.
We carry the same
Yeah.
sail every race. Now, you can depower it by loosening certain things on the sail to make it less effective.
Is that called trimming?
Yeah. Anytime you adjust the sail is trimming.
Right.
But basically what you would do, and we do this sometimes with the little kids when they're learning, the sprit pole that is going up at an angle to the very top of the sail, you would loosen that significantly,
Yeah.
and that would basically make the top third of the sail ineffective.
Okay.
So you'd be sailing with 2/3 of the sail, which makes the boat much easier to handle.
For anyone listening, I'm asking for my benefit because I don't know a lot about sailing. Even though I'm from Long Island, I don't know a lot about sailing. But I'm learning from these guys.
Oh, that's
And
great.
every regatta, my sailing knowledge is growing.
Oh,
So-
that's really good.
I need to get an E-class boat. Or a C-class boat.
I think that's where you need to start.
Yeah.
Start with the E-class. That's manageable.
But I want to get into bragging rights. I need to get into C-class.
Man, look here, there's no less bragging rights in the E-class.
Oh, no.
No?
No less.
No?
No.
I don't want someone who's 14 years old to beat me.
That could happen in the C-class, too.
That's
Exactly.
true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
It's
So
a real
we
fun
have-
sport, though. It's a real fun
Oh, it
sport.
is.
Yeah.
I got to say. It's
We have
real.
almost everyone around. It's just the last boat.
Yep, that's one of my guys. That's Christopher Thompson.
Okay.
So he's surviving. That's fine. That's all we want today.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
This is the last race
How
of
long has he
this
been sailing?
series.
He's only been sailing about a year and a half.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He
Okay, that's
started
good.
started last summer.
How many students you have now, Dallas?
Hovers between 25 and 30.
That's wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of limited by the amount of boats and coaches that we can.
You brought
provide.
down the most kids, I think.
Yeah, 14 for this event. That's the most we've ever traveled with.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I was talking to Durward Knowles yesterday about the sailing clubs and how they're propelling junior sailing and how important it is that more sailing clubs are created to help the youth in the country to really, get into the national sport. And it's so much more than just a sport. It's for like, a lot of these communities, it's a way of life.
Oh,
and,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
regattas are big,
Yeah.
and
It
if you
sustains the economy.
Yeah,
if
it does.
Only, gives that boost if only for that one time, but that carries them
Yeah.
for the rest of the year.
It does.
In some cases.
And I think if the kids bring the more competitive side of sailing to those
Yeah.
regattas, they're going to improve. They're going to be more,
definitely.
engaging and fun to watch.
Yeah, and definitely the adults have to play a greater role in sustaining and developing our sport.
Right.
Corporate bombers can do some things. The government can do certain things. But the sailors themselves, the
Yeah.
ones who have been in this for years and
Yeah.
years, they're the ones who have to actually kind of cause it to flourish and grow.
Yeah, their involvement is critical.
So the boats are making their way back upwind now. The three leaders, that's Finley, MJ, and Callum, have a pretty significant lead.
Right.
It's unlikely anyone will catch them in this short course. But
Yeah.
boy, after them, it's really tight.
How many laps?
I think they're going up to here to the windward mark and then down to the finish.
Okay. All right.
So the race is almost over. There'll be a couple more tacks for people to try to catch somebody. But right now, I mean, you're pretty much just getting your feet under those hiking straps, getting your butt out over the edge of the boat and leaning out as far as you can to get that boat flat. The Opti has to sail flat. If you look at MJ, she's one of our larger sailors at this point because she's almost aged out of Optis. She's hanging
Yeah,
out
she's
over
almost
the
at the boat,
edge.
yeah.
And the boat is very flat. So if you let the boat lean too much, it slips downwind.
Okay.
And it slows down significantly. So these boats like to be sailed very, very flat.
Very flat, okay.
The other classes, like the Sunfish, you have a slight lean on them because the boat is not flat underneath. The sloops, for sure, you're going to lean them a little bit. You don't want all the boat in the water.
too
You want
flat.
some of it out
I
of
mean,
the
that
water.
tack is so violent. I mean, she
Yeah.
had to duck under there so
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. Now you can see Finley right there. He just leaned all the way out. He's got the bailer in his hand, so
Yeah.
he's scooping water out of his boat while
What?
he's sailing.
He's got enough to deal with. He's got a bail
Yeah,
too.
so he can
Oh, yeah.
hold. I mean, the good ones, they hold the main sheet and the tiller in the wind one hand, and
Yeah.
then they're bailing with the other
With
hand.
the other hand, yes.
Because you do not
Yes.
want water to pile up in these boats. If water starts piling up and you go
Yeah.
around that windward mark and let
You
that
could-
sail out, the
you
bow's
could
going
end up
straight
dipping.
underwater. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, is this the most difficult sport in the world? Because I mean, how,
That's a
in which other
great-
sport are you
it's a
bailing?
Great question.
You're
It just
dealing with a
It
sail.
requires a whole
lot.
lot of precision.
I think
you
it's
know?
one of the most difficult to learn.
Yes.
I think sailing is very tricky to learn.
If you
There's
tell me I got to
lot-
bail while I'm out there
Yeah.
competing, I'll be like, no,
Yeah.
let me just play basketball. Or,
Yeah, well, you don't bail.
You
You'll
don't-
find out
you
what
don't bail,
happens
you'll be
when
in the
you
water.
don't bail.
Yep. Then you go
that's
swimming.
amazing, though.
But once again, we have the leaders who they maintain their position as they turned the first time.
Yep. So
First three.
Finley,
Finley.
will be first around. MJ will be second, and Callum will be third.
They got a good gap.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
good. Behind them, I believe that's Taryn. That's Taryn or Michaela. I can't tell from here. It's one of the Luther Sailing Academy girl sailors. She's in fourth place. And then there's a whole pile of boats coming.
Yeah.
Just like
They're
on the
nestled
first
together
lap.
back there.
Yeah. So let's see who can try to separate a little bit. There's a couple of kids that need a really, really good finish to try to boost themselves higher up on the leaderboard for sure.
So as it stands right now, is Finley the
Finley will be the champion, and
He'll be the
MJ
champion?
will be second.
Once it
Yep.
stays like that.
stays like this?
Once it stays like
Yeah.
that. Third, I'm not sure. It's very close. I mean, you look at the point standings going into today. Finley had 5, MJ had 8, and then the next person has 23.
Yeah,
Wow.
So
it's a
big,
big gap.
It's a big gap.
Big gap.
Yeah.
It's a big gap.
But that once you start throwing out races, so if they complete this race, they'll have 6, and they get to eliminate their worst finish.
Okay.
That really, really shuffles things up because a lot of these kids
Right.
had disqualifications that they're going to be getting rid of, or
Yeah.
a really low finish that they can eliminate. So that'll change everything. All
And
right.
just coming to the windward mark, we have another.
Yep, that's
bunch.
Michaela.
Right.
Michaela will be next, 122. That's the nice guy, Armand.
I hope he stays nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
He should be pretty happy. It's a good race for him.
Yeah.
Number 1. Who's number 1? That's BAH number 1. That's Michael Knowles.
Okay.
All right, Michael Knowles.
Which sailing club
He's
is that?
from the Nassau Yacht Club.
Sail club. Okay.
Yep.
And we got 176.
176. That's Emmett. That's my son from Exuma.
Okay.
116.
He's not too bad.
He's doing okay. 116, Lorenzo. That's another one of the ESA sailors. 130, that's Sonny Appleman from Exuma.
Okay.
And then we have a USA sail with a whole bunch of numbers. Let's see if we can find out who that is. Yeah, I don't see him on our list.
22183.
Yeah. From that, I think that's Drake. That's Drake Knowles. You can see the Long Island logo, I believe, on his sail.
That's the Macknell Sailing Club.
Yes,
Okay.
they have. They only have, I think, 3 sailors in the championship fleet. Yeah,
They're doing pretty well in the E-class.
Drake Knowles. Yeah, they're hanging in there. Their sailors are a little small. They bring a lot of the big guys.
Okay.
So
Is that an advantage in the E-class?
it depends
be-
on
it
the wind.
Depends on
Okay,
the wind.
Depends on the wind.
Yeah.
With the wind we had yesterday, the bigger
It was good.
guys did better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today it's going to be the same.
Same thing,
everything.
if we sail.
If they get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're able to get it.
Woo! Boy, someone just had a big lean. That was
Yeah.
Michaela. She almost went
Yeah.
over.
We got 2 of them going around the jibe mark.
Yeah.
Very close together.
Yep. So now they're heading for the finish. Finley is approaching the finish line now. He'll go between the committee boat and the left end of the gate. That's the finish line.
Yeah, I think he's going through right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he'll be your champion, which not too surprised. Without Patrick here, Finley would have been the next favorite in the Opties. Patrick Tomlinson is still the junior to beat in the Opties, but he couldn't
Okay.
compete in this. Finley would be
Which
hot
sailing
on
club
his
is Patrick
heels.
with?
Patrick's with the Lyford Key Sailing Club.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the 2-time national champion in the Bahamas Opti National Championships.
Well, despite the weather giving us a few issues, we were able to pull this off.
Yep. We'll see what happens after this, if they're going to put the Sunfish and the lasers out there.
So it's best to just get these knocked out one after the next.
I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, this is certainly certainly sailable right now.
Yeah, it's just a little rain.
Yeah.
But the wind is manageable for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see if you look while they're going downwind, they tend to lean the boats to get the sails a little higher up in the air.
Okay.
Called kiting. So they even hike out to try to get the boom elevated, because the more of that sail you can get up in the air, the more wind you can catch, and you can go just a little bit faster, and it gets some of the hull up out of the water.
Yeah.
So you're pushing less of the boat through the water.
Yeah, that requires a lot of balance.
It does.
Yeah.
And when you're
Yes,
when
it
you're
does.
learning, they tip over a lot. So it does require a lot of balance. But if you look, you can see all the angles of the sails. They're all a little elevated, and they do that in the laser and the sunfish as well. We don't do that too much in the sloops.
No.
It's certainly not in the bigger classes. The booms are just too big.
And they're too heavy.
Yeah, you don't want to get them up in the air and then they fall back on you or something like that. So you got to be a little careful. You can do it a little bit in the E class, but you certainly got to be careful. Look like two of my Exuma guys bringing in the buoy here. We got Trey Sean and CJ, but they're making it around. They're very new to the championship fleet. They were in Green Fleet just a few months ago, so really impressed with them.
They're
I
newbies.
see one of the sunfish coming out.
Joss is
so-
coming out, so first on the course.
So we're getting set for the
Sunfish.
lasers right after
Yep,
this.
looks like
Yeah.
they're going to go.
Yeah, I see others.
He's
look
giving you a
they're
hail.
Yeah.
Getting ready to come down the
Yeah,
ramp.
and might as well
which
do
is
it.
good.
Get it done.
So everybody tune in. This is the final day of the Durward Knowles National Junior Sailing Championship. We're making it happen. The rain is not cooperating sometimes. So we're trying to get as much races as possible to you guys. So please stay tuned and enjoy the action.
Yeah,
These
if you-
kids are putting a lot of work to be here.
Yep.
They're from Exuma. They're from
Long
Grand
Island.
Bahama. They're from Long
Yep.
Island.
Eleuthera.
They're from Eleuthera, Harbor Island. So, you know, they've made a journey to come here to be a part of this junior championship.
Yeah.
And we do
They're
hope that they
putting
all
on-
do well.
They're putting on a show.
They're putting on a great show.
Really good show.
Even in these conditions. They're not
Yep.
saying, oh, I'm going to go home. Too much rain.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
No.
I got to bail a boat.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
No, and every time they go through something like this, it just makes them a little tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so when it comes again, they're a little less intimidated. They're a little more prepared.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they enjoy it even a little bit
Yes.
more. Like
Yeah.
we always are asking our kids, what was your favorite experience, your favorite regatta? And it's the one where the
Usually
squall
the
came
rough
through.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
rough
where they had to
ones.
be tough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But can I say something? I mean, these kids also, it does something for their confidence.
Yeah.
Yes,
When I interview some of these kids, they're excellent on camera.
Oh, yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
They're not intimidated.
No.
They're not intimidated.
They're really
And tha-
well-rounded.
and that's what we want.
Yeah.
You know, you want confident sailors who are
Yeah.
able to stand the ground and
Yeah.
stand on their own.
Helps them become
Yeah.
well-rounded, I think.
Yeah, if you know, when you can face the weather, and
Yeah.
you know, it makes everything else in life a little less intimidating.
Yeah.
So the sailors really do become hardened, and they can take on a lot of things with confidence, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, now these kids will be able to warm up and hopefully get dry for a few hours.
Slow is signaling me.
Yeah. but it's-
Okay, so guys, we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right. Thanks.
Don't talk like that, man. I never like. All I can tell y'all is that it's about to go down. Hey, party time. Tell me when you balance for me. Move your waistline and balance for me. Hey girl, tell me when you balance for me. Shake your booty and balance for me. All right then. Tell me when you balance for me. Move your waistline and balance. balance for me? Hey girl, tell me when you balance for me. Shake your boomty and balance for me. I want hold it, girl. Never ever try control it, girl. Any signs, how you doing? Come over here and roll it, girl. I want hold it, girl. Never ever try control it, girl. Any signs, how you doing? Come over here and roll it, girl. Take my breath to soul it, girl. Find something, never soul it, girl. For me know say something tight, my girl. Walk with you with the oldest, girl. Always want to the freaky, girl. Never ever had a kiki, girl. No racism, black or white. Have respect for my bleaching girls. Careful of the bleaching girls. Love people things them teeth in girls. Give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. We call them things girls. Tell me when you balance for me. No, your waistline and balance for me. Alright then. Tell me when you balance for me. Shake your bumty and balance for me. Tell me when you balance for me. Move your waistline and balance for me. Tell me when you balance for me. Shake your bumty and balance for me. I want hold it, girl. Never ever try to control it, girl. Any signs, how you doing? Come over here and roll it, roll it, roll it.
It's the vibe again with the flow. Bohemian and Trey, respect the lingo. West Indies in the high school beach. Nike sipping with the socks and the clean white tees. That's how we flex in the 242. On the courts in the 2 dark hoops. 650 in Kawasaki. Pick up some assassination, mommy. If you need work once, they go to plan B. So if you ain't making money, then come from around me. Sexy thing look like Taraji. Let's go riding on the jet ski. Wet money. Everybody trying to get money. Cause the sky is shining, ain't always sunny. So we start the morning, pass the knowledge on. To increase the peace and learn to right from wrong. Guys, my life living stress free. Don't stop me up, not today. Don't call me, don't text me. I know what you say. I party till next week. Cause that's how we celebrate. Don't call me, don't text me. Cause I live in stress free. Stress free, don't mess with me. Never let nobody get the best of me. Gotta let you know, nah, not the day. I don't care about the rumors and things they say. Cause I can make it happen through the fuss and fight. That's right, I ain't getting no, they gotta show tonight. The city on my back to make people on the old tight. Let's say this be bugging, but we taking out the parasites. Or shoot, so you mugging me, man. When they get up on the track, you know I done in the scene. All they get is sucks, now the people call me Korean. They looking for fame while they trying to change the game. Say she trying to come through, tell her come see me. Gotta screaming all the lungs when they on TV. I'm the chosen 1 and 2 and 3. And they rap that T-R-A to the E. God, my life living stress free. Don't stop me up, not today. Don't call me, don't text me. I know what you say. I party till next week. Cause that's how we celebrate. Don't call me, don't text me.
I see you standing over there. Us two locked in the stairwell. The club
Are
is
you serious?
now I'm feeling baby. So let loose to be there. Give me some of that flair. Oh, I know you want to. Passing through the crowd, I'm on my way to you. What you gonna do? If I look the way you do, I'll be feeling myself. Go and make your move. Pull your body close to me. Pull your body close to me. Wrap you around and make you feel. 'Cause I know that I love this feeling. Feel the electricity. Touch my lips so we can feel. 'Cause I know that I love this feeling. Give me all you got and smile with your body. Feel the rhythm now flow through your body. Like an animal, baby, lose control. Just a little bit more. Passing through the crowd, I'm on my way to you. What you gonna do?
Hello, Stewie Griffin here. I'm rocking to the sweet beats of DJ Sampler. Look out,
Don't stop whining, keep shaking, baby. Impress me, baby. I'm going crazy. Let go. Don't stop whining, this is your song. Let go. This is your song. Short pants, short skirts, swimsuit on. Swimsuit on. No flying right out of space. Watch it out. She dances all night long. That's what really impressed me. She take no games, no referee.
song of the goat skin drum, drum, drum. Take me to the island. Oh, na 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 na. Where there is no drama, just love for one another. Take me to the island. Please, Lord, take me down there. Where the children can play. Hey, hey, let me tell them back. Take me back, Auckland, take me. Take me back, Nagua, take me. Take me back, Andros, take me. Oh, na 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 na. Take me back, Limani, take me. Take me back, Suma, take me. Take me back, Lutra, take me.
Get in the mix with DJ Sampler during the Bahamian Mixdown every Friday at 6 on 92.5. Bahamian or nothing.
Hey Stewie, listen to this. That's that guy from the Bahamas, DJ Sampler. Ooh, pretty good, Brian, pretty good. Makes me want to shake my tush. Hey DJ Sampler, play some big tunes.
758-242. Hey!
All I can tell y'all is that it's about to go down.
There's no hesitating. We can scrape down in, we bone.
Party time.
It have grandpa shaking, even grandma breaking down to the song of the goat skin drum, drum, drum. Take me to the island. Oh, na 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 na. Where there is no drama, just love for one another. Take me to the island. Oh, please, Lord, take me down there. Where the children can play. Hey, hey, let me tell Take me back to Lucha. Take me. Hey, let's go. Take me back to the island. Beautiful like a diamond. Take me back to the island. Oh, na 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 na. Take me back to the island. Beautiful like a diamond. Take me back to the island. Hey. So, this island is my home. 700 keys to room. We can scrape down in we bone, 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 bone. It have brother shaking. Even the pasta breaking down. To this song of the gold skin jump, jump, jump. Take me to the island. Oh, na 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 na. Where there is no drama. Just love for one another. Take me to the island. Take me back. Please, Lord, take me down there. Where the children can play. Hey, so we tell them. Take me back, Abaco, take me. Take me back Long Island, take me back Sansal, take me. Oh my grand Bahama, take me back Thailand, take me back Thailand, take me back Nassau,
Let go. Let go. Let go.
There's nothing I can do, everything I gon' get through. Father blessing, no stressing, I'm pumping with the crew. So negativity, don't bring that around me. If you think I go fail, then you just don't know about me. I am the one to shell it down and go to work next morning. I am the party champion, defending this my calling. I wake the people up whenever people start getting worried. When they say it can't be done, I show them I can do it. I can do it. Go to breakfast, then I head and straight to sleep. I can do it. Party there back inside the drop and don't catch flu. I can do it. Drink it back all night and I still remember you. I can do it. Wake up next day and be ready for part two. Yeah, I can do it. Mash a big round. When we go down, I can do it. Wave all around, jumping up and down. I can do it. Don't stop it now. Yeah, I can do it. Don't doubt me. No way, yes. Einstein tonight. I lie.
You're lying.
Never lie. I stay with energy, and all my friends just like me. If you live for a good time, then be his family. See, I can do all things the Bible even tell me. So if you say I can't go, then get me behind me. Oh, I am the one to shell it down and go to work next morning. I am the party champion, defending this my calling. I wake the people up whenever people start getting worried. When they say it can't be done, I show them I can.
You say I don't want it. and enjoy this party. Ha. We only got one life to live. Hey, and I'm singing, girl. I want you roll a bumper on me and I'm singing, girl. I want you roll a boogie on me and I'm begging, girl, girl, girl. Hey, I want you roll a bumper on me and I'm singing. Ha. We only got one life to live. I'm drinking it, drinking it.
The final day of the Durward Knowles National Junior Championship. And we have the upcoming final races of the Sunfish and Laser. And joining us on stage is Paul D'Souza, and you are head coach of the Bahamas National Sailing Club.
School.
Sailing
That is
school.
correct.
See, all right. A lot of clubs to remember.
Thanks for having me. Thanks
No
for
problem,
having
no
me.
problem. So tell us a little bit about the Laser race coming up.
This we have the last two laser races this morning for the regatta. These two races will constitute a series, which allows them to have a drop as well. So it should mix things up. I know the top end of the fleet is pretty close, and when the people get to drop their worst race, which is what will happen once they complete the sixth, it will kind of mix things up and keep things close. And it's a very close race course, very tight to the land, very small.
It's a little further out from the last race. Right, Dallas?
I don't know if they've moved from the Opties. I think it's the same start.
The buoy looked like it's moved
Oh,
out.
they shifted it. Yeah, the
Okay,
wind
they
moved a
shifted it.
little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody, the course has just shifted, obviously, because of the different boat. And the Laser, it's a faster boat, obviously.
Yes, it's a faster boat. I'd expect them to do this almost at basically twice the speed as the Opti.
Yeah.
Wow. And they'll get around this course. It shouldn't take them more than about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting to see. Hopefully we get to see some good speeds out of these guys, and it's going to keep the racing really tight because it's not going to give enough time that the fleet's going to spread out.
Okay.
So it's going to be pretty much anyone's game.
How's
in
your club
these last
fared
couple races.
so far?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Come on.
Are they leading?
Two of my sailors are 1 and 2 at the moment. I have another one of my sailors that I jointly coach out of the Royal Nassau Sailing Club that got a bullet yesterday. So only my kids have been getting the wins at the end of the day, but it's been really tight in the middle of the pack especially, and which some of my kids are also in. So I'm curious to see how they do as well.
Right, must be proud.
Very proud. I'm also very proud of my 3 newer laser sailors, and there's a bunch of new laser sailors to the class. There's Rico, who is brand new to the laser, who just moved out of the Opti, and that's like a natural progression that kids do. They come out of the Opti, move into the laser or the Sunfish classes. And then we also have Delano Davis, that was once in a Sunfish, that is moving into the laser, that's sailing laser at the moment.
Okay.
And then we also have Jerron Francis, who has done the same thing, come out of the Sunfish into the laser. And then there's a couple other people in the middle of the fleet, like Sienna Jones, that came out of the Opti, very good
She's
Opti
pretty
sailor.
good. Yeah.
Yes, and she's moved in and done all the races. We also had Eliza Denning, I think currently still reigning North American Opti champion.
They sail together in an E-class boat. Captain Peg.
Captain
Peg.
That was a Mary Jack from
Mary
the
Jack,
Opti
okay.
and Eliza Denning. Yes, unfortunately Eliza was sick yesterday, but she had a very strong start to the regatta, getting 2/3.
Yep.
And I'm hoping she's out here today. I'm not sure if she is, but yeah, unfortunately she was sick yesterday. So it's good to see people coming into the laser class because it's been a small class for many years, so it's good to see it grow.
Which class has the most kids?
Definitely the Opti class is the biggest class, and it makes sense. New kids coming to the boat, they kind of progress from there, and there's a large range of skill in that boat. We have people that are brand new and people that are, some of the best sailors in the world. They may be 14, 15, but they are quite experienced, and they could give a lot of these guys that are currently in laser a run for their money if they when they come up.
Yeah. Are there different techniques that you're going to be utilizing in the laser versus the Opti?
Yes, there's a lot of things that carry over, but each boat has their own kind of quirks to it. The laser, with it being a rounded hull, kind of changes a couple things in terms of the movement in the boat. The heeling is really important, how you roll the boat. And
When you say heeling, what do you mean?
Just the angle of the boat basically on the water. So if it's heel slight to the side, you can get a lot more power from going from a heel into a flatten in the
Okay.
laser than you can in the opti, just because of that rounded surface on the bottom.
Okay.
So you'll see a little bit more of that in the laser class than we did see in the opti class, and especially on the downwind. On a day like today where it's flat, it might not be as obvious, but we might see it as it get down towards the bottom of the course where there's a few waves.
I need to learn how to sail.
Paul, talk real quick about the different sizes in the laser, because I know not everyone always carries the same sail. Is everybody in this race carrying the same size sail?
So actually we have 3 different sizes. Back in my day, we used to call it standard, radial, and 4.7. But nowadays, it's the it's the 4s, the 6s, and the 7s.
Okay, break that down because I know.
So the 4s are the smallest, which is the sail that Rico is actually sailing in at the moment.
Okay.
And most of the sailors are in the 6s today, and then I believe we have 1 in the 7. But currently, the sailors and the 6s are doing the best. I think that's pretty much because it's a good medium between the two. When the breeze comes up, they can handle the boat pretty well.
Now, is that the length of something or is that size of the sail? What
It's
is
the square meter of the sail,
of the
basically.
sail? Okay. All right, no problem. All right. Well, we're just waiting to get the start signal for the race. And Dallas, I know you have your son in this one.
Yeah, the Sunfish class, it's pretty much, if you look at the top 5 in the Sunfish, it's all BNSS and ESC sailors pretty much fighting for position in that. Joss Knowles is currently in first. He's got, he won 3 out of the 4 races so far.
Yeah.
And then Aiden Sumner is 3 points behind him.
Which school is that?
He's with the BNSS.
Okay.
And then we have Tanaj Manos, who's
So you
4
guys are
points
gonna have a little
behind
feud
him.
going on here
Yeah,
in
a
a
little
minute.
bit,
Yep.
Yeah.
And then behind him is Zachary Cartwright, and then behind him is a bunch more ESC sailors. So the top 2 are definitely, pretty much established. Apart from a breakdown or a really unfortunate race,
gonna be the ones to
Joss
watch.
and Aiden should finish first and second.
Okay.
Tanaj and Zachary are pretty close to each other, so they're going to be watching each other on the race course. Tanaj is, of course, trying to catch Aiden, but also not let Zachary catch him. So we'll see how they do. But they'll also be very fast around this race course. The Sunfish can move almost as fast as the Laser, not quite, but they should be able to finish the course very, very quickly. And it should be fun to watch. These guys are going to have to, be really, really quick with their boat handling because they're going to be very congested at the mark. Everyone's going to get there almost at the same time, I'm sure. The starts are going to be hugely important on this short upwind. If you don't get a cracking good start and you get stuck in the second wave or something,
That's it.
Yeah, these boats are too fast. You won't be able to catch them.
It looks like we have better conditions for this one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
right now it's pretty stable,
Yeah.
but this is how it looks, right before the next wave of
And
rain
5
comes
minutes from
through.
now.
So,
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Looks pretty good, though.
Yes.
And they do have the start sequence up, so we are less than 5 minutes from the start of the Laser race. So the Sunfish will likely clear out of the way right now, and the Lasers will get ready to start. We got 2 Lasers up here at the windward mark. They need to get down to the starting line pretty
So
soon.
they got to get in place.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fast race, guys.
Yep.
So this is going to be over in no time.
Yesterday, how they did the starts was as soon as the Laser started, it was the 5-minute countdown for the Sunfish. And the course was the exact length where when the Lasers were coming on the downwind for the end of their first lap, the Sunfish were starting at that exact moment. So we had both fleets converging at the same time. I don't think that's going to happen today because I think the Lasers are going to be on their way back up on the second lap before the Sunfish start.
Okay.
So we shouldn't have that same issue. But the right-of-way rules will apply between the classes, so the Lasers aren't allowed to, tell the Sunfish they got to get out of the way. The Sunfish have just as much right-of-way if they're on starboard and the Lasers on port, so it applies. It would be unfortunate if you have to do penalties because you fouled somebody that's in another class.
It is a unique situation, but it makes the event interesting, I
Yeah.
think. Makes you think more, for sure. And I mean, we talked about the start a couple times. With this race being so small and so tight, just like in sloop racing, the start makes a lot of the
It's a big
race.
difference,
In
yeah.
this race, I mean, in these races, no different.
Yeah.
The start is going to be about 50% of the race. Whoever's in the top 3 at
Tends
the
to
start
stay in the lead.
tends to stay in the lead.
Yeah.
So it's
critical.
whoever built an early lead will
It's critical
probably
to get
hold
that,
it.
that head start. All right. Before we went on, Paul, you were telling me that you are also an accomplished sailor.
Yeah.
You're married.
So yeah, I've sailed in a couple world championships in the Laser, finishing gold fleet in one of those, meaning that's the top quarter of the competitors. I've done a bit of my own sailing in my later life. I'm currently laser national champion, which is obviously the same boat they're sailing now. And then also doing a bit of NACRA 17 sailing, which is an Olympic class boat, same as the laser. So that's a good thing about the laser, is that there's a progression and a pathway for the kids. They can sail the same boat from now until they're 50, 60, or, well, maybe younger, a little bit younger than that, to go to Olympics. So it's a great class to get into just because you have such a long lifespan in the class. And there's a potential, like I said, to do from anything from junior sailing to Olympic sailing.
Have you guys seen like a resurgence of interest in sailing since it's been named the national sport? I mean, especially from the kids.
For sure.
Are they like, hey, I want to sign up. I want to be part of the sailing club.
Yep.
You know, how do I get in? You know.
I think this event will help that. But yeah, definitely a lot of interest. Hats off to the government for putting a lot of effort into that. I think it'll take a little while before we see the fruits of kids getting into sailing right now. But you know, the bigger we can make the base of our pyramid, the more we'll get coming out the top.
Yeah.
So if you want to compete on a global scale, you really got to have a huge, huge junior program, and you got to get as many kids through there as you can. So I think we're on track for sure.
Yeah, I was talking to Miss Lowe, Laurie Lowe, president of the
BSA.
And she was telling me that she doesn't want to turn kids away because she wants them to really be a part of sailing.
Yeah.
So as much as she can probably take, she will accommodate.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But of course, you know, you need resources and you need sponsorship. You need all those things to help sailing to propel it.
I mean, I would love to see school championships. You know, the schools have teams and stuff. Like just how they do basketball tournaments, softball tournaments.
If we can get to that point,
imagine
it would be
you
amazing.
had sailing tournaments between the government schools, private schools. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could get there.
Yeah, and I know some government schools do have club programs within the school.
Yeah.
And we are trying to work with them to try and get them on the water because unfortunately, there's not too many opportunities for them to sail.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
you got to work hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, not every school has a basketball court, a softball field, a track and field.
A lot of them sharing pools even.
No,
so,
exactly.
So imagine sailing.
Sailing is very difficult, and we're kind of like figuring it out as a nation. We're one of the few, maybe only one other country, I think, has yachting as a national sport, but we're really the only one that has it as a national sport, so we got to figure it out. So the lasers are off?
Yes.
Okay, the race has started, guys.
All right, so yeah, really quick start.
Anybody in particular has gotten a good start?
Too hard to tell right now.
It appears, I think, Norman Cartwright has had a pretty good start, along with Joshua Weish. I would say they look like they're 1 and 2 at the moment, which makes sense because they are 1 and 2 overall.
Yeah, so the sail ending in 5-6 is going to be Norman Cartwright, and the sail ending in 7-0 is going to be Joshua Weish. So if you see them on your screen.
So those are the kids to look out for.
So right here, 5-8 is Sienna, and she's currently 3rd overall. So she is looking to have a couple of good races and hold on to that 3rd position.
5-6 just went past your screen. That's Norman Cartwright, who's in 2nd after a penalty yesterday that he had to take because he fouled another boat. And so with the drop, he would actually be in 1st, but at the moment he's in 2nd. That's why the drop becomes important, especially in the international classes.
Yeah. Yeah, so talk about that real quick, because he has 5 points even though he won that race. So how does one get a 4-point penalty in laser sailing?
So in the past, when you were to foul someone and not do your spins, it was pretty much, if they came to basically a jury room, the person would be disqualified. But recently, they've been experimenting with something called arbitration, where a percentage penalty can be applied if you admit wrongdoing.
Okay.
Kind of like in a court of law. If you admit you're wrong, you usually get a lesser sentence. It's very similar.
Okay.
So they've attempted to kind of introduce that as a way of speeding things up, because at some of these big international regattas where there can be 200 lasers, sometimes you have 20, 30 protests in a day.
Yeah.
And some of them are quite white and black, and it can be done quickly rather than take a long time to
what constitutes a foul on the water?
So in sailing, we have, just like there's a law book, we have a rule book with many, many rules. And so there's a couple situations. The main ones are port and starboard. So if you're on starboard tack, you have right of way over a boat on port tack. And then there's windward leeward, where if the boat's closer to the wind, has to give right of way to the boat that's further away from the wind.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so coming to the mark right now is Norman in 1st, followed by Joshua. You can always pick out Joshua. He's a very distinct look on the
Yes.
water. Yeah.
I always joke with my kids, I can tell who they are from a mile away just by their posture.
Yes.
And it's It's so true. Everyone has a kind of a distinct style and a distinct look. And it's not necessarily good or bad. Like, you know, it could go either way. But it's just, you know, the kids kind of feel out what works for them, and then they kind of stick there. You can give them guidance on how you think they should improve, but for the most part, how they are is how they are.
Yeah. So that's Sienna Jones around in 58, so she's third.
We have
then 3-9 is Katie Kelly, I believe. So she's around in fourth.
Thank you. We have a slight incident here. We have the top two sailors.
They forgot about the
They forgot about the offset mark. So we actually tend to not.
Is that a foul?
It's not a foul, but they
sir.
have to go back to the offset. They started going straight downwind, which allowed the two girls, Sienna and Katie Kelly, who won a race yesterday, the only other person to win a race, to slip by. We normally don't sail with the offset, so it's new for them to do this. So it doesn't surprise me that they missed out on one. I'm surprised it was this late in the regatta it happened. I would think it would be day 1 or 2, but you know, mistakes can be made even for these guys. Both Norman and Josh went to the Opti World Championships, so the class that sailed before. So they're very seasoned sailors, and you know, even good sailors make mistakes.
So how does that compromise their position?
Well, drop down too. Now look at the 4.7 sail is in 5th place right now.
That's Rico. Like, he's brand new to the laser. I'm very pleased with how he's doing. Unfortunately, he was slightly too big for the Opti. I was hoping for him to do a big push in the Opti class this year, but you know, sometimes the kids grow.
Is that a height
It's
limitation?
a height and a weight thing. In Opti, you want to be less than 125 pounds, and unfortunately, he had a bit of a growth spurt, and it just sometimes they have to move out. You know.
Paul, look out here! What's happening? They're trying to get to the gate, but the current is so strong.
Yes.
It's basically going to pull them into the Sunfish fleet.
They're not moving.
They're going way to the left when they're supposed to be going over here to the gate. So they're going to jibe and go across to the gate. But the current right here at the point where the windward mark is extremely strong, pulling against them.
For those of us who don't know, what's a jibe?
Jibe is when they move the stern of the boat through the wind, and the wind whips the sail across very quickly.
Okay.
It's the more risky maneuver of turning the boat, so you have to be prepared for it, and you can certainly tip over sometimes if you're not ready.
Yeah, I'm here to represent all those people out there who don't know a lot about sailing.
But
So
right
you
now,
hear me ask crazy
the Sunfish are off.
questions.
All right, so the Sunfish are going to be coming upwind through the laser fleet going downwind. So it actually took a little longer for them to get up here. I think the wind up here is so light because of the protection from the land that the lasers slowed down a lot, and the current kind of got them. So the Sunfish are off, and the two fleets will basically cross through each other now, which will be fun to watch.
So that's a bit of an upset. We got a little bit of excitement in the first.
Yes, I think it's going to be very close, especially with the two leaders. I'm not sure if it was the current or a mistake or a little bit of a one-on-one racing.
That could have been.
It could be a variety of those things. Hard to tell out here. But they've gone really far left, and now they're trying to come back. So I believe they probably won't be 1 and 2 at this bottom mark after missing the offset and having to come back and then going way to the left here.
Right.
So they're going to have to, if they want to win this race, sail past Sienna and Katie Kelly to try and reclaim their lead.
Is that even possible?
Oh, for sure. It's possible, but I don't think the girls are going to let it happen easily. Let's put it that way.
And sometimes you don't want to necessarily just do a straight downwind. It might be faster to do a couple of jibes and get some faster points of sail on the downwind, a little bit of broad reaching instead of just straight downwind. But the Sunfish are looking pretty good right now. Joss is closest to us. He's the most windward boat, but there are a couple boats that stretched out pretty far on the other side of course. So we'll see. I think that's probably Zachary on the far left in the white sail. Let's see if he's going to cross. But as usual, looks like the same couple of boats at the top of the fleet and the Sunfish as well.
So for clarification, Dallas, the colorful sails, they're the Sunfish.
They're the Sunfish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them aren't necessarily, most of them are colorful, but it's more the fatter triangle sail.
Fat triangle sail. Okay.
That is the Sunfish
Sunfish.
class.
Yeah. Yeah, you can when they're side by side, you could clearly see the difference in the two shapes of the sail. All right, so Zachary has crossed over Joss, so he is the leader in the Sunfish right now. I think Joss is probably second. Joss just tacked because Zachary tacked on his windward side to block him, so he's trying to get some clean air. And actually, he could probably make the mark from there because the current is going to keep pulling him to his right side, so he might almost make it, but he'll probably tack again.
How many laps do we have, Dallas?
2 laps, just like the Opti. So the lasers are already working their way back up, and the Sunfish are on their first lap still. So the lasers are probably going to catch a couple of those sunfish, I think.
Yep. Looks like it's very tight between the two sunfish in 1 and 2 here.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting to see.
This is amazing how much the wind has dropped out. Look at this.
Yeah.
Man, it's
Totally different course from the first
crazy.
race.
Yeah. I mean, we could definitely sail the E-class now, but this is crazy how much the wind has lightened up. And so now you got the current, the typical Montague Bay current, wreaking havoc at the windward mark.
Yeah, for those just tuning in, we've been trying to work with the weather, or the weather's working with us.
Yep.
So we're just trying to.
So here we go. Zachary, first around for the sunfish. Excellent start for him. Joss is going to be second. And then we got a couple of red, white, and blue sails. We'll have to get some numbers from them when they get closer. Yeah.
At least the rain is holding up.
Yeah, so far so good. And I mean, this is where the sailors have to be kind of careful, because you don't want to get comfortable and relax. A big puff of wind could come through really quickly here, and you don't want it to knock you down and, you know, throw off your groove. So you got to be a little careful. All right, there's Keanu Hutchinson
Third.
around in third, 117. That looks like Aiden Sumner coming around in fourth. Dai Major in fifth. So yeah, pretty tight in the sunfish. Thankfully, nobody forgot the reach mark, the offset mark. Joss forgot that on the first race. Hasn't forgotten it since. So now they're going to turn and go to the gate. And Joss is probably going to try to get on the weather side of Zachary.
Yeah, I see him trying to make a move.
Yeah, Zachary's not going to let him do that, so he's going to go underneath.
Which is sometimes if you're 1 and 2 and you, you know, want to almost work together in a sense, not as in against the fleet, but if you're 1 and 2, you want to just sail fast sometimes to get away from the pack.
Don't let anyone catch
So you might not want to mess with the boat in front of you right away.
Right.
Wait till you get that separation and then start attacking the boat in front of you.
If you look behind them, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sails all coming behind them. They're going to let their sails out and create a big blanket, and they're going to gain on them. So they want to do everything they can to stay in front. And the lasers are almost back up to the mark. 5-6. Norman Cartwright's taking the lead. So that's good for him. He caught up on Sienna and Katie.
Yeah, I think he's won all of his races, right?
No, Katie Kelly won one.
Yes, Katie Kelly won one, and then also he had to get a penalty on one of the races as well. So this is big for him, because if he gets another win here with the drop, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to beat him unless he has another bad
Because
race.
he can offset one of those.
He can just offset the penalty, yes.
Okay, all right.
So the only thing is, now that he's lost, basically because he has a penalty, though, he no longer has another race to play with. So if he has another bad race, so someone could potentially either force him to have a bad race, or he could be over, that could cost him overall.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the moment, he just needs to finish well in this race and then try and sail around the course the best he can and as clean as he can in the last race to ensure his victory. But he's looking pretty good right now.
If he wins this one, he pretty much just has to beat Joshua Weech in the last race.
Yes,
and
that is correct.
That'll be it, yeah. All right, so boy, they've slowed down a lot. The wind has dropped out, and it's coming from behind us. So the windward mark is extremely light. There's good breeze still out at the gate. So once they get out there, they're going to pick up a whole lot of speed. But coming up in here, the wind really drops out, and you got some current against you. So the second laser around is Katie Kelly. And then the third one is Weech, and then Sienna.
And then it's a Freeport sailor.
Ellie Gibson.
No, I believe so. Yes, Ellie Gibson.
Yeah, from Grand Bahama. Good for him. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And looks like with the wind lightening up, not too surprising, the 4.7 sails dropped back quite a bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. Unfortunate thing with the small sail, when the breeze is up, they can keep up with the bigger ones, but once it dies down, they don't have the power.
No.
Kind of like if you have a smaller sloop sail, you don't have the power to push through the water.
Yeah.
Same thing with this. They don't have the power to keep up with the bigger sail. So yeah, it makes sense that he fell back, and the person that's in the biggest sail, which is that Freeport sailor, was Ellie. It pushed up into fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
You know, when I met some of these sailors this week, I was surprised how small they were. Now that I understand the weight class and the restrictions, I can see why they're coaches and they're 13 years old.
Yeah.
They're training other kids.
Yeah. Well,
how to sail.
we don't have weight restrictions. There are age restrictions.
Age restrictions,
Yeah.
right.
So like in the Opties, once you turn 15, that's your final year of Opties. You can't sail anymore after that. But I mean, we've got some 13-year-olds that are as big as laser sailors, so they tend to get out of Opties earlier and get into Sunfish or lasers. But you can have a 12-year-old, sailing Opties if he's big enough and competent enough. But you really want to put the right size sailor in the right size boat. That makes a huge difference.
It's more about optimal weight kind of
Exactly.
situation. You have ranges that you want your child to be in, and then you kind of put them in the boat that makes sense for their weight.
Yeah,
Right.
look for maximum maneuverability.
Basically, yeah.
You see on your screen, Joss gained a ton on the downwind. He is around the gate by a significant margin, and Zachary is just now going around the gate. So he managed to outsail him on the downwind and retake the lead. So he's on the beginning of his second leg now, and Zachary is split and gone on the other side of the course, which is probably the right thing to do. I mean, you want to try to do something. You don't want to just follow the boat in front of you, but you want to be careful you don't get into a bad spot, no wind, current, something like that to make it even worse for you.
And I will say with this cold front, the right side of the course is probably going to be the favorite side of the course for the rest of the day, because in the morning the wind was further left, and as it started, that cold front came through, it pulls the wind all the way to the north, and then it'll actually stay in the north for a little bit, and then it'll continue to go back to the normal direction out of the east.
Right.
Okay.
But so that's something to look for the rest of the day. That right side of the course is probably going to be favored.
Okay.
And I think both fleets, the person that ended up rounding first came from the right side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically as the wind pulls around to the north, when you get on the starboard tack, you can point higher and higher and higher to the buoy. So it's less course you sail, whereas if you're on the other tack, you're basically sailing away from the buoy. So you need to watch for the wind shifting to your right, and then you get on the proper tack, and it's over.
By the time I'm done with this, I'm actually going to know a lot about sailing.
That's good.
Because sometimes you guys are talking and it sounds like a foreign language.
It is.
But these guys at least know what they're doing. These kids are really
really
good.
Yeah, very, very clever.
So I believe Norman had just finished the laser race. He won, and I think Katie is getting the second place. And then I believe the full rig sailor actually might have gotten into third.
That makes sense, yeah.
Hard to tell from here, but it's looking like it's pretty close between the full rig sailor and Joshua Weish.
Yeah. Yeah, and Joshua needs all the help he can get if he wants to beat Norman. It's unfortunate Craig couldn't be out here, huh?
It is unfortunate Craig couldn't be out here. Current Sunfish Junior National Champion, but he normally sails in the laser.
Yep.
Craig Ferguson, a very good sailor.
Out of Life Key.
Out of the BNSS, actually.
Okay, BNSS, okay.
Yeah. And quite accomplished, but unfortunately, you can only miss so much school. We
Yeah.
like to sail, but
Yeah.
school does come first.
Yeah.
So it's important that,
How has that actually been integrating, school time with practice time with the kids? Is that
I mean, we do our best to keep the schedules in line with school, so we don't, do too much overlapping. This event is kind of a special event, so some kids were out of school, some kids were still in school, so we've had some sailors that haven't been able to sail this event or all the days of this event.
Yeah.
Which, is fine. This is a great opportunity, and we couldn't host an event like this just over 2 days. This deserves a bigger platform than just a weekend regatta.
Yeah.
So, I think that we do our best to really we have our regattas on the weekend. We have practices after school, and we want our children to miss as least amount of school as possible because we're trying to do what's best for the kids at all times. And
obviously, yeah.
All right, so in the Sunfish, looks like Joss has really opened up on the lead. He's tacked for the ley line at the buoy. Tanaj Manos, I believe, is probably in second. He's the white sail, number 197 on your screen right now.
Both from Exuma Sailing Club.
Both from Exuma, and Tanaj definitely needs a high finish, and he needs Aiden Sumner to finish down low, which right
I think
now
he is.
Which will put
Aiden's
him,
in about
which will put him
fifth.
where?
He'll try to get in the second overall.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens. Aiden has a little bit of breeze right now. He's moving quite well, but he's behind Dai and Zachary. So he's going to need to catch a couple of those guys. And Joss is having fits at the windward mark, trying to figure out what the current and his
see him
boat wants to do.
Attacking one.
But the reason why Aiden's in the back is we talked about the beginning of the importance of the start, and he did not have a good start. He was deep at the beginning of the race, meaning deep in the fleet. He was towards the back, and it cost him. It's very hard to sail through.
Josh capsized.
Yeah,
Oh, he's trying. Oh, look at that. I mean, he's
He
actually
pulled
on
a Paul.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Very infamous that I did that myself at the Sunfish Nationals this year.
That's your move.
I didn't get to sail both days, unfortunately, but on the second day I did sail. I managed to fall out of the boat.
And you did the same maneuver?
Same maneuver.
Yeah,
Wow.
so what happened was when he tacked, he went to put his feet under the hiking strap, and he missed the hiking strap, and so he went overboard. But you saw how quickly these guys can get the boats back
that
up.
is amazing.
And luckily, he
That's
has
amazing.
a nice lead, so he should be okay. But boy,
I hope everybody got a chance to see that because that was.
I think it was on the screen. Yeah,
That was nice.
And now look at Keanu Hutchinson, the other yellow sail. He's in some nice pressure right there. He's got his boat moving. So, boy, he is going to probably go into second place. And the guys out here on the left of us are in the current.
Snage over here.
Yeah, and they're having a really hard time
So what's
getting
happening
their
over there
boats.
with the wind?
So
Dallas?
what actually? Sorry, go ahead, Dallas.
No,
Go ahead. No,
So what's going on is basically, even though the current was helping these guys most of the way on the upwind because it's going down, and we say when it's going down, it's going towards downtown, so it's pulling into the harbor.
Right.
So it helped them get all the way up the course on that right side, but now that it started to die, the current's actually pulling them past the mark, and they're struggling to get down because they can't fight it with the amount of breeze they have.
Yeah, so Joss is around, so he'll just go to the finish now.
He's bailing now.
Yeah, he's getting water out of his cockpit. And then Keanu, Hutchinson, and Tanaj are hot on his heels, trying to get around the mark. They got to be careful that they don't get pulled down onto the mark and touch it. If they do, they'll have to do a complete 360 penalty turn. But there you go. Keanu's around. Good finish for him. It's the highest he's been in the fleet. And Tanaj, another third so far. So Exuma, 1, 2, 3.
Who's ahead of Tanaj?
Keanu Hutchinson.
Keanu Hutchinson,
Yeah,
okay.
unfortunately on the first day he had some rudder breakdowns and he didn't sail any of the races.
I interviewed Keanu. He was talking about that.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, there you go. Tanaj has found a little bit of speed, and he's going to try to overtake him now.
It's a good bounce back for Keanu.
Yep. Boy, they're all catching Joss, too. Like, nobody's moving.
Yeah, they're just dead in the water.
Well, not unfortunately, but it's great for our viewing,
Yeah,
and it's important to have the viewing close. But because the marks are so close to the land, you actually get into the wind shadow, we call it, of the land, being the land is physically blocking the wind.
Yep.
So Paul, is this where your experience now kicks in?
Yes.
Really? Okay, now what do I do now?
So Joss, if you see him now, he's looking backwards. He's trying to look for wind that he can try and sail in front of that will help him get down the course.
Okay.
So basically, as soon as you get in these situations where there's no wind, your first thing is look out. Where do I see the ripples on the water? That shows you where the wind is. And you try and sail to it as fast as you can. So if you see in the middle, there's some more wind. So I think reason why he's turned to the left, he's trying to get there.
Trying to get over there as quick as he can. And you would think, okay, they're all on the same team. They're just going to let Joss win. I can guarantee you that's not what's happening. These kids are bitter rivals on the water. They practice against each other all day. Joss has beat up on them all week, so trust me, they want to beat him really, really
I mean, there's
bad.
so much intricacies to this sport.
Yes,
You out there, you got to be bailing sometimes. Sometimes you got to be looking at the water, see the ripples going this way.
Yep.
You know, sometimes your boat flips, you got to jump on top. Is that a rudder? Jump
The
on
Diger board.
Jump on the Diger board and pull your boat back up.
Yep.
I mean, it's never just smooth sailing.
No, it's
No,
never. Yeah.
no.
Yep.
It's amazing.
And you also have the complication too, where they're all from the same island and the same club, but they're competing individually. So you are against your fellow club members.
I was supposed to ask you, any bad blood when you guys got back to the hotel room? Hey, man, you pulled a move on me today, you know?
No, not like that. Like, there's frustrations because everybody wants to win, but there can only be one winner. So obviously some kids feel like they should be performing better, and but no, it's not a lot of bad blood. The teams tend to stick together really, really well. You just got to be careful that they don't take that onto the race course and try to manipulate the results to help their teammates win. That's very illegal. So you can't do that.
But, I mean, in terms of what you asked if there's bad blood, usually on the water, everything is super serious.
Yeah.
They may, have some bad blood in that exact moment, and they might take it super seriously. But, for example, with the penalty with Norman yesterday, at the time when it happened, he was quite mad. Even when he found out he got the penalty, he was quite annoyed. But at dinner, we all pulled it up because they had caught it on video, what happened. We all pulled it up, and we were laughing, including him, about how he got caught literally in 4K fouling someone. So it's very serious until it's not, you know?
Yeah.
You get on land, you kind of forget about what happened on the water, and you
that's
remember
good.
you're all friends, you know?
So it's hard to tell right now, but I think Tanaj might be in front. I'm not sure. Boy, him, Keanu, and Joss are in a dead heat going to the finish. Joss might have a little advantage because he's going to be right next to the committee boat. But yeah, that looks really close. And
That's the finish, right?
yeah, they're going to the finish now. And you can see they're trying to get their booms up in the air to catch every little bit of breeze they can to go as fast as they can. And Aiden and Dai went off to the left because there was some pressure there, and they caught that, and they're kind of slingshotting around into the finish. But yeah, it's going to be really close.
It appears Josh does have it, though, from what I'm seeing.
It's hard to tell, but yeah, boy, close finish.
Very.
Yep, Joss had a huge lead, and just like that, boy, with these
Yeah, got wiped out.
shifty conditions, the
They got wiped out.
capsize, and then the slow tack, and
If he didn't do that recovery, though.
oh yeah, no.
That was a very good recovery.
It was a very good recovery.
I think Tanaja's sail is in front of Joss. So I think they're through the line. I don't know.
They are
who
through the line.
Yeah.
Maybe it does appear Tanaj did end up getting it.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Tanaj is on our top screen.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping he got one.
It's a
'cause,
good
boy,
shot.
He's been hunting that for a while.
Yeah, I like his spirit, man. He's very.
Yeah, it was a good finish. And that would really help him in the points with him and Aiden, because Aiden is going to end up finishing at least 5th or 4th, so that would help him gain a bit there, assuming there's no penalties that we know about. But yeah, now they'll get ready. The breeze is picking back up again, so they'll get ready to start the lasers for their final race. Yeah, here come the puffs.
Yep. Breeze is coming in.
It's not unusual for the breeze to kind of die before a big wind shift. So that's probably what's happened here. And I'd imagine it appears the wind is very much further right than it was this race.
So Dallas, what's the next race coming up?
The lasers. The lasers will get ready to go in for their final race.
Okay.
Yep. And then the
Sure.
sunfish will go for their final race.
Is that
Awesome.
All right.
So here, this is the Durward Knowles National Junior Sailing Championship. And
on a break?
Okay, we're going to go to a break.
Spencer, what you running on with? And I sent you to the shop long time for the lad for me to put in this pot.
Yeah, man. So don't be all up in my grits. But I asked you to cook me this morning. You ain't cooking nice. Sit me on.
Well, Vingston, either you blind or you can't read. Because this here say, showing your sailors, and you ready for the grave.
You good?
Where?
To the repass for your wave made rest in peace. Listen, it just say 200 young sailors could be out to this thing. And they say it could be fun, it could be prizes and surprises. And guess what?
What?
Surprise you ain't going.
You ain't want to carry me, but now you want me happy.
Don't touch me, nephew. Nephew. What? Let's show them what we can do.
That's them, Reggie. Show them what we is do.
Just for the young people, man. Anyway, while in this thing shaking up herself, I can see y'all on the 22nd through 24th right over Montague.
How could you forget?
What?
When it's on the junior jungle on the school pop band could be there.
Oh, well, I can't miss this.
nobody. Don't stand up, just wine. Don't stand up and watch nobody. Wine. Don't stand up and watch nobody. We only got one left to live. Hey, boombe, just like the Iowa said, jump and wave in this party. Drop it no bother me. From we have rum and whiskey, come let we ramage and play soca in the party. And I will tell them back, we only got one left to live. I'm not singing, girl. Yeah, I want you roll up on me. I'm not singing, girl. I want you roll up.
Hey, Stewie, listen to this. That's that guy from the Bahamas, DJ Sampler.
Ooh, pretty good, Brian, pretty good. Makes me want to shake my tush. Hey, DJ Sampler, play some big tunes. Let go.
Get in the mix with DJ Sampler during the Bahamian Mixdown every Friday at 6 on 92.5.
He tell me that mango silly, pineapple got nothing on me. And then he say bang, bang, damn girl, you're juicy.
Megan.
Bang, bang, I walk in it on the floor. Bang, bang, I make him all out for more. Bang, bang, he licking his lip for me. Bang, bang, oh na na na. Bang, bang, da da da. Bang, bang. Bang, bang, love it up
We're back for the final race, final laser race, sorry. And we're joined by a living legend himself, Mr. Stephen Knowles, fellow Long Islander. Proud to say he's one of the best sailors we have in the country, if not the best. So, Steph, how do you feel about the Durward Knowles Championship?
Dari, good morning, Bahamas. I was thinking about this yesterday. You know, the Durward Knowles Regatta. I think the name might have been new to the youth, but if I recall, back in 1995 when the Junior Championship started back officially after must have been about a 30-year hiatus. It was like. It was a name to the Durward Knowles Junior Regatta, but it was in honor of him kind of thing because he was a major sponsor. I remember him giving out the prizes. You know, that's almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
We sailed.
You got one of those prizes?
We sailed, well, the first year I came second. David Mitchell won that year, and that was 1995 in Slaughter at the National Regatta. We raced on Tuesday, the day prior to the start of the National Regatta. And that happened, I guess, up until about 5 or 6 years ago. I guess Dallas probably could confirm, and then it kind of evolved into the opties, lasers, and now the sloops. So I'm glad to see the transition. You know, these boats are more inclined, and they're better for the kids because they could. If they sink them, they can.
The opties, the lasers, and the sunfish.
Yeah, they could flip them over quite easily.
Yeah, one just got flipped over by Joss. Joss was almost turned over.
I saw it.
He jumped on the
marker.
Yeah.
So back in the day, that was one of the issues that we had. Some of the kids would sink the C-class sloops on Tuesday, and then they had to get them ready to race on Wednesday. So that's a lot of more work, as you've seen from BOB when the VDK sank right here to the marker.
Yeah.
Takes a couple hours to
I
get
was
one
there.
of those up.
I was there for that.
Versus these little boats. So
yeah.
It's good that it's evolved, and you have more participation from the kids now, because you could get more participation because you have more boats.
Yeah.
And so that's just a good thing.
But based on the past couple of days, Stefan, do you think enough attention has been given to junior sailing?
Well,
in your opinion,
I think the main issue that we have is a facility. You know, right now, the National Sailing School is using the yacht club premises, which is they have limited space.
Yeah.
And then I was told that they're probably short on instructors.
Yeah.
So that is going to create a limitation for how many people you could actually have training at a particular time. So as it grows and evolves, and as long as we could get a facility that's actually a training school, a national training school, you have everything there, I think it'll grow.
All right.
And become even more complex, you know.
Yeah.
We're on the water right now. The sunfish have just started, and Joss's mast broke.
Oh wow!
So he is out of this race. The lasers are coming up for their second lap now. Joshua Weech was first at the mark. So it looks like he's still ahead of Norman Cartwright. But in the sunfish, Joss will be out of this race. But with them completing 6 races, he will get a throw-out race, so he will not count this race, and he will still end up the sunfish
champion. So this is
champion.
one of those situations where he gets to
exactly. He would get to throw this race out. So he'll still end up first overall, which is good. He had enough cushion to be able to have a race like that.
Yeah.
But besides him, it looks like Keanu Hutchinson, he's in another yellow sail coming towards us here, just tacked. He's in pretty good shape.
It's a big rebound for him, man. For him, it's rudder being down to...
Yeah, very good for him. The first day was rough.
Yeah.
He didn't get to sail at all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Stefan, do you think we need more mentors from mentorship or initiatives from the past sailors to help these juniors to kind of to bridge the gap, to sort of get them more involved? Not just sitting at the regattas and having a good time, but getting more involved with the kids. We have a lot of trainers that they're not really local. We have a lot of foreigners come sometimes training these kids.
Well, one of the issues that we have is that a lot of the sloop sailors
Yeah.
don't understand the international rules.
Yeah, they
So
need to get
so
involved
that-
somehow.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
It's it's teaching kids sailing techniques is standard.
Yeah.
But teaching them the rules, if you don't know the rules, you can't
Yeah,
teach the
you'll
kids
do.
the rules.
Yeah.
So that's the gap that we have to bridge between the two disciplines in order to get more of the sloop guys into the kids races and training.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the sloop guys think that the rules are so different, but it's the same right-of-way rules. You know,
Well, the
yeah.
basic rules are the same, but
Exactly.
it's the small details that
Yeah.
we don't pay attention
Exactly,
to
yeah.
so much in the sloops.
Yeah. So Tanaj Manos is first in the Sunfish around the first mark, and Joshua Weech is maintaining his lead in the lasers, and Norman Cartwright is going to be second in the lasers. They're going to be heading for the finish now. Tanaj will be heading downwind to the gate to start his second lap. Keanu Hutchinson is second in the Sunfish. So two Exuma boats, first and second. Aiden Sumner from the BNSS is third in the Sunfish right now. And third around the mark in the lasers. That's, I believe, Katie Kelly. And then we have Zachary Cartwright coming around in the Sunfish. Another Exuma sailor, that's Lando Ferguson. And then Trevor Brown, Dai Major. There's Sienna Jones in the lasers coming around now. And
that's tight right there.
She came around with some speed
yeah,
just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got all these sails on top of her, though.
Watch it. They're
Look
right
at
on top
that
of each
guy,
other.
that
You see
guy
that?
in the Sunfish.
Boy, blazing past her, eh?
They came right in the middle.
Yeah.
That almost.
So they have to give her space.
That looked like Caden who came
to
in
get
between
around
them.
that buoy, though. They cannot.
Is that a penalty?
Block her out. Not yet.
No penalty. Okay.
As long as she has space, they gave her space, so they're good. But boy, the Sunfish are really stacked up. All those red, white, and blue sails, one after the other. And so the ones in the front are going to have a hard time maintaining their speed because all these boats behind them are going to be starting to take their wind from them. So they'll gain on them a little bit on this downwind, but it's so short it won't make too much difference.
Is it more technical, these races, compared to the sloops?
I mean, the boats react so much faster and they react to every little movement, so you have to be a little more careful with where you sit and how you move and how you rock the boat and things like that. The sloops are a little more forgiving. They're a lot heavier, obviously. You can walk around the boat and it won't affect the boat as much, but it does still matter in the sloops. Certainly the smaller ones, the C and the E class, where you position your body weight does make a pretty significant difference.
Okay.
But Joss is out. He's being towed back to the yacht club, so he won't be in this last race. So we'll have a new winner. Looks like Tanaj might win back-to-back races today, so that'll help his chances for getting into second overall.
Tanaj likes that.
Yeah, yeah. He's first around the gate now, so he's starting his upwind trek for the final leg. And the lasers have gone through. It looks like Weech held on and beat Norman. So I think overall Norman will still be the champion in the lasers.
Okay.
Because he's had nothing but top one
finishes.
or two finishes, and then that penalty race, he'll get to eliminate that one. So he'll win the laser fleet, which is good for him.
Yeah. Norman Cartwright from
the Bahamas National Sailing School.
He had told me this morning that he had to win all two in order to win. But
no, because
I'm not sure.
I think because there was a little bit of a gap between him and Joshua in the first race, it helped him out a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess he was assuming if Josh got second behind him,
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah. And then the Sunfish going to be close, second and third between Tanaj and Aiden. It's going to be really close because Aiden had a 4-point lead over Tanaj going into today, and Tanaj won the first race, and Aiden was about fourth, and now Tanaj is leading him again in this race. So we'll see what happens when they get to eliminate some races. Who ends up on top might end up a tie. But I think either way, they're going to be second and third in the overall standings for sure.
If the weather holds like this, you think we'll be able to pull off an E-class?
No, I just canceled the E-class. The weather's just too unpredictable. And the last thing I want is to get all the kids out there and then a big squall come through and we have some trouble. So we've got 4 good races in over the last 2 days. I'm really happy with the performance of all the kids. I want to respect the boat owners' equipment. I don't want to break things, sink boats by pushing it. I really wish we could have gotten them all in.
Someone turn it over.
It looked like Tanaj. Is that Tanaj? No, Tanaj is coming right towards us. That is Keanu. Nope, not Keanu. That is Aiden.
Did we get a closer?
Or
Oh,
Zachary.
we got it right here.
It's Aiden or Zachary. One of these guys. Boy, that's unfortunate.
All right, he's jumping on the, what do you call that again?
That's the dagger board.
The dagger board.
Oh, no, that's that boat was in the back. He's still on his first lap, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So none of the top sailors. But yeah, going back to the E-Class, I think we're going to just play it safe. A lot of the kids are in it for the first time. We don't have the experience level in that fleet yet to put them out in unpredictable conditions. So rather than risk injury or broken equipment, we're going to just take the 4-race series as it is.
Take those results.
Yeah, we'll take those results, and we have our champions determined from that. You know, certainly the top 2 boats in that fleet were significantly far ahead, where one more race might not have made too much difference for them.
Can we call the winner? Do we know who the winner is for the E-Class?
Yeah, it's going to be Lady Kayla.
Lady Kayla,
And Lady Kayla is going to be the champion, and then Mako is going to be second, and one
Sounds like
Bahamas
two
is
Exuma
going
boats.
to be third. 3 Exuma boats, actually.
3 Exuma boats, wow. Okay.
Which, I mean, they spend the most time in the boats, so that's how
That's to be
it
given.
should have ended up. But yeah, they
comes
sailed very
Tanaj.
well. So Tanaj is coming full speed to the mark, and he's opened up the lead over Aiden, and so he's heading to the finish now. So he'll be very happy when he gets back on shore.
Yeah.
He's not forgetting that offset mark, and just like Paul was saying, we don't sail with the offset marks very much. We don't sail with them at all when we do our regattas in Exuma, even with the Sunfish. So they did go over it at the skippers meeting, and all the sailors were there, and they saw it. So, you know, there's no excuse. You know, you were in the meeting. You should know what the course is, and Joss forgot it on the first race and dropped 2 spots. But you got to remember it. Your natural instinct around that top mark is just to spill your sail and head straight downwind. Yeah, but boy, you got to pay attention just a little bit longer. All right.
Based on this past 3 days, would you say that junior sailing has got a bright future? I mean, since sailing has been the national sport, have you seen an uptick, Stefan, like an interest from young kids?
Definitely. I'm happy to see that a lot of the kids out there, they seem to handle the boats really well. Some of them haven't really been racing that long. For instance, my daughter, she only been racing about 6 weeks. Well, I don't know if she's
The daughter, you sailing 6 weeks?
Three races.
How old
yet.
is she? 3?
12. She just started in January at the yacht club.
Okay.
And she did pretty well considering, you know. So obviously, the instructors are doing a good job with them to teach them, you know, the basics, and also just how to maneuver on the water. These kids are doing really well today.
Yeah.
There's a few have flipped over, but these boats are very sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, in our sloops, they're more forgiving.
Yeah.
You know, you maneuver the tiller, they don't react as quick. With these boats, you maneuver the tiller a couple of inches, they'll flip on an instant with you. So you have to be very careful, and it takes a lot of practice in order to keep those boats steady.
Yeah.
You know, sailing a straight course, and obviously to get out in the front with all of these
There goes another
kids
one.
that are racing.
Yep.
That was Dai Major from Exuma. He had a jibe and couldn't control the boat, and now he's going for a swim. So with these sunfish, you got to be careful because
That's a good shot.
Yeah, the top of the boom will actually stick into the mud on the sea floor. So when you try to bring it up, sometimes you can break things. So you got to bring it up very carefully in the shallow water right here in Montague Bay.
That almost looked like Exuma waters.
No, come on. All that grass?
I almost could see the sponges.
Yeah, almost.
The jibe is the most dangerous maneuver
Absolutely.
in sailing.
Yeah.
It's heavy wind. Yep.
And especially in heavy wind.
Yep.
In our sloop racing, we don't normally jibe.
We rarely jibe.
In this kind
Rarely
of weather.
jibe, yeah.
You know, just in light to moderate wind,
Yep.
the race committee would set up a jibe. But in these kind of conditions, we wouldn't jibe. So, you know, it's not surprising that
happened.
a few would tip over.
Yeah. Now, what we're going to see, Stefan, in April going forward, we're going to see more gate roundings in all the classes. So boats will have the option to not jibe or jibe. Obviously, if the conditions are heavy, we'll offset it. So it's very easy to just go around and tack around the gate. But certainly we want to give the sailors the option to be competitive and aggressive if they need to gain positions late in the race and they want to put in a jibe and go on a different side of the course. Of course, that means if we're going to be asking them to take risk, we got to be prepared for boats that are going to sink or capsize.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have safety vessels and salvage boats on hand to bring boats up quickly if they sink and all that. But we are going to be trying to use a gate system similar to this, especially Like in the C class, we tend to have a lot of congestion at the downwind marks. Boats are all coming around at the same time. So this will allow them to also spread out a little bit and choose different sides. In the lighter wind, it won't be a problem at all. Of course, in the heavy wind, you got to be careful. But you know, if you really want to put in the jibe, you could always lower your sail, move the boom over, and put it back up. You know, yeah, you always got that option. It's a lot, but
one time we were racing in Farmers Key, and I was so far ahead. I let down the sail before I finished the race and just let the
glide it in.
glide me through the finish line.
Yep.
You got to be careful, Stefan. You know, some fellas still on the regatta site. I hear you say that. They come looking for you.
It was a windy day,
It was a windy
20 to 25 knots.
Yeah.
And it was cold.
Yeah, Farmers Key's the coldest regatta, boy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it was. I was over there with Stefan.
Yeah.
But Dallas, is this actually the best place to sail in the Bahamas? The site, this particular.
I mean, the good thing about this site is you can get relatively close to the shore. Now, most of the time, the wind is from the opposite direction. It's usually coming out of the east, straight on shore. So it's still hard to get close in. Like, you tend to sail away from the site to go up to the windward mark here, which does make it a little tricky. And then if you go too far inshore, you do have some shallow areas that you got to be careful of. So anywhere that you're sailing where tide is an issue, you have to be a little careful. So like, you know, places like Georgetown, the tide isn't as big of a factor. The water is generally deep enough regardless of what the tide's doing. But, you know, Montague Harbor's Bay is a famous place to sail. Guys that come from around the world to sail here consider it one of the best places, their favorite places to sail.
Wow.
So it is a good one.
What about you, Stefan? Where's your favorite place to sail?
Me personally, I love to sail in Long Island. Not because I'm from Long Island. One of the main reasons is, you know, we stretch out our races nice and long. You know, you could go out to Indian Old Point and you have a long beat coming back into shore. You have to duck keys. You have to duck shallow spots up by Eva's Key. So there's a lot of variables involved with racing in Salt Pond. Here at Montague, like Dallas said, most of the time we race here, the wind is up in the southeast, so you actually sail away from the shore. You have a lot of current. You still have shallow spots like Dix Point Bar. You saw in the BOP.
That's where Mark was in.
Mark and the Rochester's.
Yeah, they know all about that.
I've been on that bar one time in the Thunderbird, C-class sailing during the switch-up regatta. So, you know, people end up on that bar, not only Mark. so in Georgetown, you don't really have as much obstacles. It's just kind of a clear, open area, with the exception of closer towards Stocking Island. You have some shoals over there, but they're not really significant unless you're racing in the bigger boats and very limited tide. So every race has its pros and cons, and you just have to understand what you're up against before you start racing, and use it to your advantage.
This has been an exciting regatta. Just before we go to break, what's the best class right now, Stefan, in terms of excitement? A, B, C, E. Which class is bringing the most excitement?
Well, I think the C class has the most excitement simply because you have more boats and more people involved, and also they're more cost effective. The E class is up and coming. Obviously, they're more cost effective than the C class, but the C class, you have over 200 people involved. You know, with 5 people in a boat, 40 boats. So this is a wider group of guys from basically all over the country in that class. But the big boys, you know, the A class, they always have excitement in the A class. And the B class to a lesser extent, because for years now, no pun intended with Dallas, but 2 boats been dominating the B class for quite a while. So it's kind of made it a little less exciting in terms of
I'm not even going to ask who those 2 boats are, but we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back.
All right. You need me for anything else right now?
That race over, right? We're done.
Sampler, what happened, man? Let that one go.
Let go. Let go. Let go.
Well, it's me.
All I can tell y'all is that it's about to go down.
Party time. Let's go. We lining and we winding in and out of timing in the bacchanal. When we see we drinking, we not very naughty. When the bassline bumping in the bacchanal. Oh Lord, carnival back again. Masqueraders gearing up, ready to play mass again. Oh Lord, when I line in with my friend, we don't want no problem. We don't need none of them. Ready for the road, that to the coast, still fun and brass again. Ready to blast again. Masqueraders we fast again. Let's go. Your family, my family, your company, my company, bad company, everybody. We lining and we winding in and out of timing in the bacchanal. When we see we drinking, we not very naughty. When the bassline pumping in the bacchanal. What kind of bam bam in there, in there, in there, in the bacchanal. Strong rum in there, in there, in there, in the what kind of joker in there, in there, in there, in the what kind of soca, in the what kind of soca.
All I can tell y'all is that it's about to go down. Let go. Let go. Let go.
Let our sweet bohemian music play. Mr. DJ and people everywhere. Let it play, let it play, let it play.
From Junkanoo to Bombay, the reggae strip is known. The Bohemian music got rhythm, Bohemian music got soul. So love up your culture, yes, love it on the way. Be a proud Bohemian and let our music play.
Let it play,
Hey,
let it play. Let our sweet bohemian music play. Mr. DJ and people everywhere. Let it play, let it play, let it play.
ah yeah.
DJ Sampler, pull up that tune, man, again.
Party time.
Let it play, let it play. Let our sweet bohemian music play. Mr. DJ and people everywhere. Let it play, let it play, let it play.
From Junkanoo to Bombay, the reggae strip is known. The Bohemian music got rhythm, Bohemian music got soul. So love up your culture, yes, love it on the way. Be a proud Bohemian and let our music play.
Let it play,
Hey,
let it play. Let our sweet bohemian music play. Mr. DJ and people everywhere. Let it play, let it play, let it play.
ah yeah.
Hello, Stewie Griffin here. I'm rocking to the sweet beats of DJ Sampler. Oh, look out, here comes another beat.
We write both Bohemian stories, we tell it like it is. We write what Bohemians want, we write what Bohemians say. We'll keep that music going once you let that music play.
Let it play, let it play.
Yes,
Let our sweet bohemian music play. Mr. DJ and Bohemians everywhere. Let it play, let it play, let it play.
come on, yeah. Come on, man. Play. Look, how our kids gonna like it when they don't know we're there. We don't need no excuses, just put it on the air. Our music make you scum, our music make you sway. Make my music bohemian and let that music play. We stand on the shoulders of great men, yes we do. Men like you, Ronnie and Eddie, and that's why we ask you to let it play. Come on,
Let it play,
yes man.
let our sweet bohemian music play. Mr. DJ and people everywhere. Let it play, let it play, let it play. Let it play,
Come on,
let it play.
yes sir.
Let our sweet bohemian music play. Mr. DJ
Get in the mix with DJ Sampler during the Bohemian Mixdown every Friday at 6 on 92.5 Bohemian or
Girls, I'm winding up. Girl, roll that bongi like
Let go, let go, let go.
ain't nothing holding me back.
say party people, it's your boy Julian Believe right now. I'm big up the DJ Sampler all day, every day.
It's going down out on there. Down on there. It's going down out on there.
New York, an Irish store. I fall in love with the rhythm. This thing so sweet it most of my heart. The power just run right through me. Every time the sweet music starts, break it, scrape it, till I can't take no more. Come on and break it, scrape it. That's what I came here for. Give me that boom 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 boom, that boom boom boom, till I can't take no more. Give me that boom 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 boom, that boom boom boom. That's what I came here for.
DJ Sampler in the mix on 92.5. In or nothing. Yeah, yo, Durward, it's finishing. DJ Sampler.
Start from deep in my belly and make it way straight down to my toes. I know my head is not to holler. Give me some more. Break it, scrape it, till I can't take no more. Come on and break it, scrape it. That's what I came here for. Give me that boom 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 boom.
Get in the mix.
Come on, everybody, let me tell you a secret.
I'm an Irish rocket jump.
From March to August, squad crawling.
They crawling all over and the crowd keep crawling. They crawling. The crowd keep
Pull up that tune there again.
DJ Sampler, man, run the tune.
Spin that one, DJ Sampler.
Sampler, what happened, man? Let that one go.
Let go. Come on, everybody, let me tell you a secret.
I'm an Irish rocket jump.
From March to August, squad crawling.
They crawling all over and the crowd keep crawling. They crawling. The crowd keep crawling all over and
Yes, I got the profit for the light and crop basket.
crowd crawling all over and
After the rain, the crop crawling out the hole.
I'm an Irish rocket jump. The crowd keep crawling. They crawling. The crowd keep crawling all over and They're crawling. They crawling.
Let go. I'm a boatman, a seaman. My work is on the water. Free diving, thrown out line is how I survive. Listen, from Foggy to Yellowtail, from Jackfish to Killer Whale, I jump in my dingy boat and I head on down the coast. I need a fish to bite. My kids gotta eat tonight, so I do what I gotta do. Break some fish back for them to stew. I've been in the trail long, and I was made strong by my father's hand. He said, "Get this boy to make your man. Once you got a big line, son, you'll be fine. Just keep your eye out for them road groupers passing by." I'm a boatman, a seaman. My work is on
Hello, Stewie Griffin here. I'm rocking to the sweet beats of DJ Sampler. Oh, look out, here comes another beat.
Catch yourself, but control yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility. I say, catch yourself, you must stand yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility. There's a lot of slackness all over the place. So many misbehaviors, man is a disgrace. Some believe our society is falling apart. Moral and social decay, man, it breaks my heart. Some think it's cool, behaving like a fool. Haven't you forgotten the golden rule? All kind of rowing and cussing and plenty road rage. The woman them in the road they fighting, these are at your age. I say, catch yourself, but control yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility. I say, catch yourself, you must smell yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility. All the time. Yeah, yo, George, we're finishing. DJ Sampler.
All I can tell y'all is that it's about to go back.
Now, all you boys line MPs that came in the wave. Next election season, you might go to your grave. So let them civil servants just do their job. Say hello and thank you, man. Try not to be a snob. I say, catch yourself, but control yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility. I say, catch yourself, you must smell yourself. Where's your dignity? Show some civility.
We're back at the Durward Knowles National Junior Sailing Championship. And we're just going to close things off with insight from Sailing Club head coaches, Stephen Knowles, Mr. Higgins, Dwayne Higgins, who is the Assistant Director to Student Development of the Ministry of Education, and Ms. Lori Lowe, President of the National Sailing Association. So first, Dallas is an announcement about the E-Class race.
Yes, the E-Class has been canceled for today, the final two races. Tough decision. You know, we didn't want to put the children at risk, and we didn't want to risk damaging any equipment. The weather was very unpredictable this morning. Right now, it seems to have stabilized a little bit, but we don't know if that's gonna remain. You know, with the front coming through, it could change very quickly, and we don't want to, you know, put the kids out there and put them at risk. It's been pretty cold and rainy. I think the kids are, you know, kind of at their max. They've been sailing hard for 3 days now. And I think that the E-Class, the results are pretty much established after the first 2 days. I really wish we could have gotten in the last couple of races, but at the end of the day, we have to put the safety of the kids and the competitors first, and we also want to respect the equipment from all the generous owners that have allowed us to use their boat. We don't want to put them in a situation where boats get damaged or equipment gets lost or anything like that. So tough decision, but we decided to cancel the E-Class for today. So the competition is officially at a close now. All the classes are off the water, and now the work begins, putting everything away and getting ready to travel.
Which is also a task.
Yeah, so the more time we have for that, the better too. But yeah, that's a wrap on the sailing.
Okay, and I'm going to let you speak on behalf of all the sailing clubs, Dallas. How did these guys do this week?
Yeah, I think overall all the sailing coaches are going to be very, very happy with the performance of all of their kids. The kids came out here in a variety of conditions. We had heavy wind, we had light wind, we had no wind, we had rain. And, you know, the kids, as usual, put on a great performance. They the results will speak for themselves on who performed well. But I think on the whole, we saw a lot of good organization from the clubs, getting their kids here, getting them organized, getting the equipment on the island, getting everything rigged up and on the water. The race committee did a great job running all of these races. So I think on the whole, the competition was at a very high level, which is what we've come to expect from the race committees here in Nassau, the BSA, BNSS, very organized, the Nassau Yacht Club, the Sailing Club, all of these guys know how these things run. So when you bring this many clubs together, it's always a challenge organizing a lot of sailors, a lot of chaperones and coaches, the food, the lodging, the transportation, everything. But the ministry has done a really, really good job of, kind of throwing all this together. It did happen very quickly. A month ago, we weren't even talking about this, and now it's all unfolded and it's coming to a close. So, hats off to the regatta desk and everybody for once again putting on a good performance. If you look behind us at Montague, if you've been down here, you've seen the attention they've put into this event and the attention they want to give the kids. So I think in return, the sailors really have put on a lot of effort into the races. They know that this is a big deal. So they want to put their best foot forward. And I think they all did that. In all the classes, the competition was really tight. In the Opties, the little kids really, really sailed well this morning in that the squalls that were coming through, that was a big challenge for them. And they all did extremely well, very brave kids. So hats off to them. They're going to get everything they deserve tonight at the ceremony, I'm sure. Big rounds of applause, lots of trophies. Hopefully they got some hot chocolate now and warmed up.
Hopefully. We have the closing ceremony coming at 6 o'clock.
That's correct.
So Stefan, you represent, these young sailors, they idolize you. And you were the young sailor years ago who everyone was talking about. Who was this young sailor coming and beating everybody? Now, from this event, can you see where these kids are going to step into your shoes and become the next generation of Stefan Knowles and, those guys who just dominate sailing?
The beauty about this process of having the Durward Knowles Junior Regatta is the kids start off the right way. Not saying that we started off the wrong way, but when I started racing, I started in the C class.
In the C, not even E class?
No, we never had those. Well, there was an E class back in the day. It was a 14-footer. But the only sailing that I did prior to that junior championship in 1995 that I spoke about earlier was us, myself and Cameron and Jesse and Kendrick, the young boys from Mango Bush. Cameron had a laser, Ryan had a sunfish, and I had the B-52 bomber, which was a 14-foot E-class. That's what she was named. My brothers bought it from Marcus Mitchell. And we used to race the three of them out in the Sound, in Mango Bush, that Mesquite Sound area. Nothing competitive. We just used to set, 1 gallon jug.
Mango Bush Sailing
Yeah,
Club.
1 gallon jug on a block from Daddy. Throw it overboard, and we start our own race and whatever.
Wow.
And then we evolved into basically the sloop. So I've never sailed a Opti. I sailed Sunfish Limited just in Mango Bush. Lasers I sailed a little bit when I went to Boston.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's it. So at least these kids have started from young, and they're learning it kind of the right way, the rules and everything. Because Dallas knows how we operate in sloop sailing. Even though we have rules, then they're not as clear. Now that we revised the rules for this year's regatta, I think it's going to be a lot easier for a transition for the kids from the international racing, as we call it, to the sloop sailing. So hopefully, within the next couple of years, things will mend and gel and mingle more. Because you have situations where some of the younger kids come into the sloops, they, even on my boat, they be like, "What are these guys doing?" They say the rules are a little slightly different than the international rules. So that's one of the challenges we have, and I think over the years to come now, I think it's gonna merge, and it's gonna be more easier for everybody to flow from one into the other. The only issue that we have again in the sloops is that a lot of the people that are involved in the sloops, most of them are basically like passed down from generations of families, like in our family.
You mean the boats themselves? Yeah, the boats themselves.
Right, Higgins. With Mr. Higgins, his dad had the Cobra, and then you have the guys from Black Point with Mr. Lundy, with the red stripe, the tidal waves and the running tides. Even the Dove guys from Abaco. It's very costly for somebody to just start out, at 25 years old and say they want to own a sloop.
Yeah. You got to build up to that.
For a C class, you're looking at spending $60,000, $70,000 if you want to be competitive.
Wow.
A B class, you're looking at $140,000. A class, you need over $200,000 to really build one of them.
And just the maintenance of it.
Right,
Yeah.
and then the maintenance,
yearly.
So that's another challenge that we have. Transitioning the kids as they get older from this type of racing into the sloops, But the beauty of sailing is a sport that you can enjoy throughout your life.
Yeah.
We have guys in the sloop racing, Mr. Effort Camp, Leon Bristol. Those guys are, 80 plus years old.
He won in Farmer Ski.
Yeah,
That's the camp, right?
He won the last race.
Yeah, man.
So unlike basketball or football, where typically people retire in their late 20s, even 30s.
Yeah. You pass your prime.
In sailing,
Yeah.
you could go on until you feel fit to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Nobody is gonna say, well, oh, you
Too
got
old.
this 80-year-old guy out there getting last.
Yeah. Nope.
You're just
can-
out there.
you
You're
can
just
get
out
beat.
there having fun.
Yeah, you could
You
get
get beat. you can
And-
just go out
and you can
there.
get beat from one of these young kids.
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first times I raced in the C class. Buzzy, Mr. Leslie Buzzy Roll was racing his boat at
Your
that time,
nemesis.
Saddam, and Mr. Rolly Gray was in the it was either the Spray Hound or the Sea Hound at the time. You had Ivan Stewart and the Unknown, and I sailed Mark's boat, the Terminator. I was only about 13 or 14 years old. That was actually the first time I ever raced a serious race in a sloop. But I had those opportunities at that point in time because my family was intricately involved, as they still are, in sloop racing.
Yeah.
A lot of kids weren't afforded that opportunity.
Yeah.
So hopefully we could bridge that gap over the next couple of years, a decade.
The
and
same way you
and
face
let
those
people-
legends, you can have these young kids coming up to face you in regattas.
Well,
You know?
I want it to be a situation where, when I reach 60 years old, if that's when I decide to stop racing, I want to come in and enjoy watching it too. So it's important that we train the kids and make sure the kids
to keep the sport going.
to keep the sport going. So when I get of age and I can, or mentally I don't want to go out there because of my competitive spirit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could just go out there and just cruise around. I don't know.
You'll beat somebody.
At this point in time right now, I don't think I could do it, but maybe my mindset will change when I get that age.
Yeah.
But I want to go out there and watch people race too. And, these same kids over here now, they might be the ones out there racing, and I will enjoy that because, I've seen them from they were young coming up. And the older guys who have passed on have said the same thing to me. When I go to Long Island, go to Exuma, the old guys come and they say, I enjoy watching you racing with you as a little boy. And they come out and that's what they enjoy.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that tradition alive
And that seems
keep
to have
things
been,
moving.
That seems to have been the spirit of Sir Durward Knowles. He raced well into his late age.
Yeah,
right?
80s.
80s.
Yeah.
You can imagine you're 80 years old and you're still on a boat.
Yep.
The first time I met him was when he started, him and Mr. Danny Strawn, Clyde Roll, started the junior championships back in the mid-90s. I didn't know who he was.
You didn't know?
No. And I met him that same year. And, he always liked to talk to the kids and, he would hover around and stuff. And then my dad told me that guy won the Olympics. And then I started to read up on it and found out who he was, But he was always involved from that time. I remember. Always involved in the juniors, always, every time, every year, and he would show up.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just donate his money, he
He'd
wouldn't
show up
just
to
donate
support.
his time.
Yeah.
He would show up at the regatta site in Georgetown, and he always supported the kids 100%. So I'm happy that the government decided to name this in his honor. I think it's very fitting.
Yeah, it is.
Very fitting.
It is. And Dallas, you think he'd be proud?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do often think that, I wish he would have stayed alive just a little bit longer to see his great nephews sailing and
Yeah, he'd be
what we're
definitely
doing
proud
in
of those.
Exuma and all that. Yeah, I know he'd be proud. But yeah, like Stefan said, he was such a legend and gave back so much to the sailing community, and not just the boats that he sailed, but the sloop side as well. He's very integral in building the regatta and helping everybody that needed help on the water, off the water, and just a very generous person. So really proud to be here and part of this regatta now, and I hope they keep it going. It's been going for a long time. It's been a standalone regatta for almost 10 years now, and I think that's the right thing to do. It did sail under the National Family Island Regatta, but it was just a one-day, really quick thing. I think the kids deserve a little bit more than that. Like this is a huge standard that they've set now, which they are.
This gives them their own.
Absolutely,
their own thing.
and they deserve
They have their own
that.
junior regatta
Yeah,
that they can
exactly
claim as their own.
And they have a chance to meet and mingle with a lot of the sailors
kids.
from the other islands.
Yeah, and the camaraderie.
Last night they were out here. You had those young kids from the schools around
GHS.
Nassau with the bands.
Yeah.
And you saw some of the older sailing guys, they were mingling around, and you see them down at the yacht club talking to one another. So, and all of that is a part of growing up and learning about life. We all preach academics, and you need to be smart and become a doctor, a lawyer, and engineers, and all this sort of stuff. But that wholesome approach to living and
it helps you
racing
be well-rounded.
Well-rounded, going out there and racing and just competing and learning from your peers, that's all a part of growing up, and it teaches you, and it helps you when you become an adult. You find yourself in certain situations. You could think back on a day like today where you broke a mast or you flipped over the buoy, and what did I need to do in order to recover?
Right.
You're there by yourself, and that's the beauty of racing and how they set it up, where they teach the kids independence. You have to learn how to do things yourself and be independent, and that helps them quite a bit when they become adults and they're out in the real world.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll join Mrs. Laurie Lowe and Mr. Dwayne Higgins on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Every time I go by the farm, I always get drinking till I lose and I bet. Nobody gon' watch me if I get on by the night sweat. On your market set, drunk but I ain't missing a step. Mind if you ain't feel no wine, then stay over there by yourself. When Reagan's great return, I can dance, I can sing, I can wave my flag. When Reagan's great return, I can drink all the rum, I can get on my.
Appleman.
Get him, Ricky. Just give me the Rick and scrape. Beat that gum and scrape that ray. I get scrapped inside long way. I like two fish with Johnny cake and say. Just give me the Rick and scrape. Beat that gum and scrape that ray. I get scrapped inside long way. I like two fish with Johnny cake and say. Just give me the Rick and scrape. Beat that gum and scrape that ray. I get scrapped inside long way. I like two fish with Johnny. When the music plays, I'm the first one to dance.
Bust it, bass sound, bust it.
Don't think you understand. Man, you know, woman, well, and back on a man. I always get drinking till I lose and I wet. Nobody gon' watch me if I get over the night sweat. On your market set, drunk but I ain't missing the step. Mind if you ain't feel no wine, just stay over there by yourself. When Reagan's great return, I can dance, I can sing, I can wave my flag. When Reagan's great return, I can drink all the rum, I can get on my. When Reagan's great return, I can dance, I can sing, I can wave my flag. When Reagan's great return, I can drink all the rum, I can get on my. Get him, Ricky. Just give me the red gas scrape. Beat that gum and scrape that ray. I get scrapped inside long way. I like two fish with Johnny cake and say. 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 Like two fish with Johnny
Bust it, bass sound, bust it. Mother.
We're here with a young sailor from the Bahamas, sorry, the Exuma Sailing Club, one of Durward Knowles' students. Can you introduce yourself?
Here, my name is Heidi Ampelman, and I'm a green fleeter. And I finished first place in one of the races, but overall I capsized 2 times, and overall I'm 11th. And I don't really like my place, but
It's okay.
I didn't have any chances to continue because we had rain.
Because of the weather. And
Yes.
before I go any further, I'm also joined by Miss Laurie Lowe, and she is president of the Bahamas Sailing Association and the Bahamas National Sailing School.
Yeah. Wonderful to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for
Welcome.
having me.
And I talk to Ms. Lowe all the time during the regatta, so we're no strangers to each other. So, Ms. Lowe, how do you feel the regatta went? Do you feel like overall this was
I think it was very successful.
Okay.
I think the kids all had a good time.
Yes.
I think we'd like to thank the Regatta Desk and the Ministry of Works and Local Government for putting on this great show, or helping us put on this great show, and showing the world how regattas are done in the Bahamas.
Yeah. Even though the weather didn't cooperate, and you can tell, Heidi, you still want to sail,
Yes.
right? But you're just upset because you didn't get the win.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, because there was too much wind, and the green fleeters couldn't sail anymore.
Okay.
To the wind.
How long have you been sailing?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years? Okay. So are you originally from Exuma?
If
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Canada, but my club is in Exuma.
Okay, great. So next time around, are you hoping to probably win it all, or are you gonna just
Win it all.
you're gonna win it all? That's it right there. So Ms. Lowe, can you talk about your club, the sailing school, and how they can help young kids like Heidi?
Okay, so the Bahamas National Sailing School is in New Providence, and we have a sailing program which is open to all sailors from any schools. You just need to get in contact with us through our Facebook page or our Instagram page or on our website. And yeah, subject to availability of spots.
I know you told me because you guys have like a lot of people who are applying, and you don't want to turn anybody away.
We don't want to turn anybody away, but we have a limited a number of coaches at the moment and limited resources.
Yeah, Stefan was talking about that.
Yeah.
So there has to be maybe. Are we looking at probably opening up another spot on the island where kids can probably get sailing in, or
Well, so the government is trying to put in place a National Sailing Academy,
okay.
Which I guess would be separate from the National Sailing School. But again, it comes back to it's not so much another facility, it's having the equipment and the instructors to be able to do this. The National Sailing Academy, the Bahamas National Sailing School has been being run out of the Yacht Club, or the Nassau Yacht Club. Thank you very much to the membership at the Nassau Yacht Club. It's a great place for us to be. Unfortunately, we have we're in the process of outgrowing the facility, and we are also in need of a new facility so that we can expand and bring more sailors into the fold, allow more kids to come and sail. There's a limited amount of space at the yacht club, and we've pretty much taken up.
Yeah, a lot of it. I've seen it. It's clustered.
Without unduly imposing on the membership.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Heidi, let me ask you a question. I want you to tell the young kids out there who may be interested, what is it about sailing that excites you? Like, what is it about it that got you interested in it in the first place?
Well, when my brother first started doing sailing, and I thought it was cool to see him in his own boat, just sailing with the wind and on the water, and I wanted to try it, and I just came to love it.
Feel free out there?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I think this is one of the only sports where you can put a child this age in a boat or a vessel by themselves and let them just go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody's telling you what to do. You're in control.
Yeah. And I was
Sometimes you get to tell other kids what to do because you have the right of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you were very young, and I was actually at a regatta where there was a gentleman who was 81 years old who actually won his race.
Oh.
81.
Mm-hmm.
So you're young, and he was very old, and he still won his race. So it doesn't matter your age.
Yeah, it doesn't
you can
matter
still
your
go out
age.
there and you can
Yeah.
win.
In the boat she's in, there is an age limit, but when you get into the bigger boats, you'll sail against me, and you'll be able to tell me what to do sometimes. Sometimes I'll tell you what to do.
You think you could beat her?
Sorry?
You think you could beat Miss Lowe?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah, well, she's still in the green fleet, but one day she may well beat me.
One day.
Absolutely. If she
One
keeps
day.
sailing,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So overall, Ms. Lowe, you think that we're looking at this being the first one in a while, that this is something that we want to
Continue
doing
Sure, sure.
long
I
term?
think this is a great event. I think that this is a great venue.
Yeah.
Maybe that next time they'll have it at another club. You know, for example, in our international classes, we have an Optimist Nationals, and we, for a long time before COVID, we had it in a different island every year. And what that does is it sparks the interest in the island, gets more kids into the boat. It can be difficult for the island because you have to find the volunteers to help make it happen.
Yeah.
But it's really good for your club and for your community.
Yeah, and I found that some sailing clubs are completely sponsored. They're a fully sponsored club. There's no one really assisting them besides from independent sponsors, and
yeah. So the government does give a small stipend to the clubs, but largely we are almost all the youth sailing teams here, or youth sailing clubs in the Bahamas, are not formal clubs. So they are designed to introduce kids to sailing, and they only exist with private sponsorship because, you know, each one of those Optimist boats is about $5,000. Then you have to have the coach. And quite often our kids are not paying anything to be taught.
Wow.
So this is the model. It's how you spread the joy.
Yeah.
Make sure the kids learn the joy of sailing and why we sail.
Yeah, I really wish we could get all the schools involved so it could really be, you know, something that's nationwide. Everyone's kind of immersed in sailing and have the kind of fun that Heidi can have.
I mean, we're an island nation. All our kids should know how to swim.
Yeah.
All our kids should know how to sail. I mean, I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be
but
great.
certainly I'd love to see all our kids knowing how to swim.
You got adults that can't swim.
But yeah, we got a lot of adults that can't swim.
Yeah. So Heidi, before we close, you want to say hi to anybody from back home or give a shout out to anyone?
No, but I would like to thank Miss Tamron Dallas for bringing me the chance to come in Nassau for regatta.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we're just going to go to another break before we close out this Durward Knowles National Junior Sailing Championship, our live stream side of it. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
Going strong, competent authority, but you're dead wrong. Walk my Sydney's KFC, fish fry, pork, ski dog. I just want me some Kong salad, but we still on love. Lockdown, baby, this is all we heard. Still under curfew, but boy, it's flicking road. We ain't touched the road in so long, we in quarantine 6 months strong. Junk a new carnival, breaking straight, coming then one way things to shabby. Give thanks cause we gon' party, cause lips I like them cold, cause all I know is it's just the blinking road, the blinking road, I say the blinking road, 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 the Bahamian ambassador, hey DJ Sampler. His name was Arthur, he was my papa, he loved to whistle. Boy, he was good, plowing the field or catching fish. You could hear Papa whistling like this. Oh, whistle, Papa, you whistle so sweet. Hey. He was a Cat Island man, a
close things out with Mr. Dwayne Higgins, the one and only Dwayne Higgins, Assistant Director, Student Development and Ministry of Education.
Yes.
Mr. Higgins, we're finally closing out this regatta. Give me your insight on how you think things went. And I know that E-Class is your baby, and you weren't able to pull it off this time, but
At least not today.
yeah, but we do have the winners, though, from the races previously. So you call those out, and we can kind of put that one.
Yeah, at least for the E-Class unofficially, the results would be as follows. So we had Lady Kayla, who would have been captained by Josh Knowles from the Exoma Sailing Club. They would have come in first, unofficially, of course.
Unofficial.
Mako would be second. That would be Emmett Knowles, also from the Exoma Sailing Club.
That's two brothers.
Two brothers. Yes, Dallas
and
Knowles'
Dallas' sons.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Third would be One Bahamas.
Yeah.
And once again, these are all unofficial.
Okay.
That would be that would be Tanaj Menos.
Yeah, Tanaj.
Yes, Tanaj.
He's
And
going to be happy with that, though.
Yeah, she'd be, that's a girl, right?
Tanaj?
Yeah.
No, Tanaj is definitely a boy.
Oh, Tanaj is
Tanaj,
a boy.
yeah, Tanaj, yeah.
And that's Exoma Sailing Club as well. So that's first, second, and third from Exoma Sailing Club.
Yeah.
But coming in fourth unofficially would be Captain Peg, captained by MJ Nash.
Okay.
That's from the Laifiki Sailing School. Fifth would be Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Sailed by Summer Jones. Yes.
Yeah.
Summer Jones from Laifiki Sailing Club.
Sienna Jones.
Sienna
Jones. Yeah, Sienna
from
Jones.
the Laifiki Sailing Club.
Yeah.
And sixth, I'll just say sixth, Miss Agnes from the Exuma Sailing Club. That would be Trevor.
A lot of Exuma boats.
Trevor Brown.
A lot
So
of Exuma
those are the
kids.
top six unofficially. We would have had registered 22 boats. We would have had participation, I
We had
think.
22 E-Class boats?
22 E-Class boats were registered.
That's amazing. That's
We
amazing.
were able to have 20 of them participate.
This was a real regatta.
This was a full regatta.
This was a full regatta.
A full regatta.
Did we have that much at the best of the best? E-Class?
No, we didn't.
So we had more E-Class boats
in this junior
championship than we had in the
than
big
we had
boy race.
best
Wow.
of the best.
Wow, that's
Yes.
amazing. That's
And
amazing.
we look forward to next year even having more
Yeah.
because we should have more participation.
Yeah.
There should be more experienced sailors with the E-Class in
Now,
particular.
do you want to talk about the program that you are going to be,
Yes, we, especially in New Providence, because we are so much further behind in terms of the development of sailing on this island. In the country, we're behind, really.
Yeah.
So what we have done, the Ministry of Education partnering with the Ministry of Works and Family Island Affairs, we have targeted 11 schools that we are establishing sailing clubs. So from those 11 schools, there are 4 primary schools, 4 junior high schools, and then the 3 senior high schools.
Okay.
So we expect, hopefully next year, we'll have participation from all 11 of those schools. One of those schools, CV Bethel, would have participated in the regatta this weekend. They would have sailed aboard the Bird Rock.
Okay.
And there's some progress that we would have seen. So I really want to salute Trey Shauna as well as LaShawn. They would have been the persons who would have captained. And of course, these kids would have been, that's the first time they've been in an E-Class boat.
Yeah.
And they also new to sailing as well.
Yeah.
So we in terms of looking at sailing, especially this weekend, see a lot of upside to it.
Yeah.
With so many students, young people participating, almost 200 who would have been a part of this weekend's regatta. We definitely have a bright future. I want to once again reiterate, support for persons who I hadn't mentioned before because we didn't always know the names.
Okay.
But now we're matching names to faces and also the completion of races. So I want to say to Norman Cartwright as well as to Joshua Weish, we want to wish them good luck as they try to qualify to go to the Junior World Championships, representing the Bahamas again. We cannot underscore how important that is.
No.
It brings a certain level of notoriety to the country.
Yeah.
And then also it brings validity to the programs that so many persons are putting their time and effort into. We talk about persons like Jimmy Lowe, Laurie as well, who were just on the broadcast a few minutes ago. Of course, you have instructors like Pedro and and the other members of the team at the Nassau Yacht Club Bahamas Sailing School. And of course, there's so many other persons who are a part of training these young people. Dallas Knowles, who coordinated the class race, but he is the coach for the Exoma Sailing Club. Martin from Eleuthera. My brother Melvin, also from Harper Island in Eleuthera. We have Brandon Knowles, who he didn't have a team here this time, but he is in Spanish Wells developing a junior program as well. We have the,
you feel we
the
need
coach.
more of those. We need more of those.
Yeah, exactly. And the coach we have from Grand Bahama, I can't remember his name, but there's so many persons who are contributing.
I think it's Jamie Halpin. Yep, Jamie Halpin.
Jamie Halpin. And there are others who are around the. Oh, sorry, let me not leave out Cameron from Long Island, who is
Mark
also
Knowles.
working from working with that group of students. There are a lot of young sailors that they're interested in learning. They're interested in becoming better. So as their interest continues, and as we as adults help to develop and nurture that, you're going to see even more success internationally as well as locally.
Yeah, but we need more sailors like yourself who are, you are a sailor. You participate in most regattas.
Yes.
Yes. We need more sailors who are involved with the regattas to also take time to help these kids out
and to give back.
Beyond the schools, like even
to give
donations
back.
with their boats.
Yes.
So a lot of most of these class boats were donations.
In fact, we really want to thank so many of the owners of the E-Class boats. I want to highlight the owners from Andros in particular. Larry Bastian would have been instrumental in helping
Bastian.
persons like Joshua Green.
Can I get a boat, Mr. Bastian? Can I get a boat?
Desi, so many. Lloyd Sands, Luther from Luther Ferguson, also from South Andros. They would have actually brought 9 of the 22 boats from South Andros Mangrove Key.
Just for this?
Just for this. Just for this event.
That's amazing.
So we have to really commend them.
Yeah.
But we need even more of the persons who own these E-Class boats, especially if you're in New Providence. We are asking your help. Kevin Moxie, who is the owner of the COVID-19. David Roll, who is the owner of the So Fine. Manasseh Boleg, owner of the Lady Zari. These are boats that would have been donated for the use of these young people. And we are expecting that next year we're going to probably need twice as many boats, because I think the energy, the excitement of being in one of those boats, it's growing.
It is.
It's definitely growing.
It is. It is. And I just want to say special shout out to all of our stakeholders who have helped with coordinating this regatta. We have the police force.
Oh, yes.
We have the defense force. We have Bahamas EVAC. We have
parks.
We have parks. And
Beaches
antiquities,
and parks,
monuments. We've got Ministry of Works, Ministry of Tourism. We've got Alive. We have a lot of people that really came together to pull this off to make this a success.
Oh, definitely.
And on behalf of the regatta desk, Miss Cindy Gay, Miss Kristen Palacios, and our whole team of local government that came out.
Yes.
I just want to just say, we hope that we can continue this.
Oh, definitely.
And keep our kids involved in sailing, because it is the future.
Oh, yes.
It's our sport. We got to keep
definitely.
this thing, keep the momentum going.
And, there was something that I realized over the weekend that we, myself in particular, failed to recognize persons who would have paved the way. Persons like Clyde Roll from the National Family Island Regatta Committee, who was very instrumental in developing the junior sailing program that used to be held during the National Family Island Regatta, because it's out of that came this. So you have persons like Clyde Roll, you have Danny Strawn, you would have persons like Sheldon Gibson. These were persons who at the beginning, in its infancy, they would have given so much to this particular youth focus. And, we can't ever forget those persons. And those were small beginnings. Now this is a huge undertaking. But if we don't remember the past,
Yes.
we tend to or we're susceptible of making the same mistakes.
Yep.
So we want to recognize those persons. There was some growing pains,
Yep.
and there are some things that we are learning even through this.
Yes.
And we are hopeful that next year
Yep.
or in subsequent years that we continue to grow,
Definitely.
develop, and we need everyone's help. It's all hands on deck.
Because we want these kids to feel as if
All
this is
hands
a
on deck.
regatta, a real regatta. They're getting
Yes.
the coverage, they're getting the interviews.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
definitely.
They're getting limelight they never had before. You know, there's a camera in front of them, and someone's asking them, "Hey, you know,
Yes.
how are you going to do today?" You know, they feel like stars, and I
Right.
see it in their face when they light up and they go out there and they perform, and they feel the appreciation. You know,
And we spoke earlier about the confidence
Yeah,
that
it does,
the
it does.
junior sailors have.
It does.
And then they have a different type of trash talking that the adults do.
I was wondering if there's going to be like between sailing clubs a sort of Celtics
rivalry.
versus Lakers, rivalry going on
Yes.
into the future. So, anyway, before we do close out, I just want to also say special thank you to ZNS Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, as well as Narvi Media and Movie Group that helped us to do a lot of the groundwork, production, and broadcasting. I want to say special thank you to all the vendors that came out, all the entertainers, the government schools, the Junkanoo groups, the pop bands, Reggie Dam, let me say this correct way. So we try to do the best regatta possible for our juniors, and we hope to continue this in the future where we just build and
Yes.
keep the junior regatta going. And the Durward Knowles National Junior Championship is going to be a staple.
Oh, yes, definitely. And we want to wish all the sailors as they return to their
Definitely.
different
Safe
islands
safe
and
voyage.
different clubs, safe travels. And we hope everybody comes back
Yes.
renewed. And, of course, expanding the vision, junior sailing, the
Yes.
future of the country.
Definitely.